Alright, check 1, 2. Should hopefully be live. Ready, rock and rolling. Yeah, I mean the main reason I'm sort of even streaming today is because testing out a couple of little tweaks on that I've done to OBS and bits and pieces. So yeah, managed to start getting some of the design assets sorted on screen displays. People can now see chat, which means I need more people to chat. So chat, and that'll hopefully fill that up. I've still got to do a couple of other bits and pieces and tweak it, make it look a little bit more kind of fancy, like them young dudes and dudettes who are doing the the Twitch streaming and the video games and all that stuff. So yeah, all right, I can go there. Today's mission is a couple of things, but probably going to get started on this Jaguar. So this is a Japanese 65 bound neck reissue. So made in Japan, T serial. That'd be like late 90s, early 2000s, something like that. I don't remember the Fender serials off the top of my head except for a couple of batches of them. But this guy picked it up off someone else, and there's been a couple of things going on with it. Doesn't play very good. Part of that's got to do with the bridge. So a common thing some people will do is they'll actually put a Mustang style set of saddles on here. So those saddles are designed to help minimize the strings jumping out, because a Jaguar and a Jazzmaster will have saddles like these, which were literally just threaded rod that they cut off, drilled in, put some screws in there, and did it that way. Because there's so little break angle over these bridges, it's easy for them to jump out, and you end up with sort of all sorts of tuning hassles and headaches and that stuff. But of course, the flip side of the Mustang is the Mustang has a 9.5-inch radius. That was the first one of Fender's guitars that had a radius that wasn't super tight, 7.25 inch. So yeah, this one is going to get the saddles put on, courtesy of Brad. Thank you, because it saved me having to jump online and place in a whole order from the US to get them over here, because no one locally had them. I don't deal directly with Fender Australia, and even if I did, they charge 3 times as much for an inferior product. Seems to be their MO these days. Yeah, so the other thing as well with this one is that it had some high frets up around this section, and someone has decided they're going to try and fret dress it, but they've done it really poorly, haven't crowned them over, and haven't actually like even gone beyond like a 400 grit, almost looks like. So it's like really, really rough in that section there. Absolute pain of a nightmare. And yes, indeed, it did arrive. Thank you very, very much, Lee, for that one there. Alright, so yeah, so the original conceit as well with the Jaguars and Jazzmasters was in order to increase tuning stability and such that the whole bridge would actually pivot on a pair of posts inside a thimble, so the bridge moves like that. That's a design that, I mean, theoretically it kind of works, but the problem is Leo wasn't a guitar player. He was a radio engineer, repairer, a guy who was always tinkering. He was an engineer. So with these ones, the reason why this, for example, pickguard has a hole underneath it, if you don't know, is that it had a little sort of like spring trap underneath it there, because you'd have a device that would wrap around the saddle there that you'd push down on it, and it would put a mute up underneath, because when you mute on these, obviously the bridge rocks backwards and forwards, knocks out your intonation, knocks out your tuning, all that kind of stuff. Not a great way of doing it, but it is what it is. So we'll have to see what we can do about this one to get it sorted. We'll do the saddle swap and whatnot, and try and make it play as best as possible. Yeah, so it's just going to be kind of like a bit of a chill one, just while I fiddle with some more details and try getting this kind of stuff sorted. And yeah, nothing overly exciting today, really quite simple. Alright, that one there, that one there. Let me go over to there, what do we got? Oh yeah, one person watching, nice. 2 people, oh yeah, going hard. Now down to 1 again, whatever. Nobody's going to be watching today because they're going to be off chilling out and doing things if you're here in Australia, and if you're in America, then it's going to be Thursday, and you're probably going to still be at work. I've got to check as well what these frets are like, because I think they might have some, they might have some looseness, so So those who may not know what I'm doing here, yeah, basically I'm using something sort of like heavy and metallic to tap on the frets to make sure that they sound uniform across the lot. Because if I go along and suddenly one goes from like to dunk, then that means that the fret's acting like a shock absorber. So that means that the fret is lifting, it's not seated properly. The Fender stuff's usually pretty good when it's from Japan. However, you know, humidity changes, all the rest of that, or even just that piece of wood might make it less than ideal. Oh, there we go. There's one that's actually quite bad there. So, for example, if we go here in the center, you can hear it's like high pitched. Go over to the edge though. You can hear there's like a bit of a drop in pitch on that one. That little tiny end of the fret has sprung up a wee bit, possibly. I'll check it with the rocker. Yeah, tough crowd, Australia Day. Yeah, seriously, driving down to the shop today, it was like nobody on the road, but there was everyone down because being here in the inner west, there's the Yabun Festival now at the near Broadway shopping centre. And then, of course, all the people wandering going, yeah, Australia Day, all that jazz. So, that's why, obviously, I'm not going to be open today because no one's going to be out and about shopping, least of all for guitars. And, you know, I don't have any plans for the day, so I'm just going to be, like, chilling out here, repairing. If anyone does pop along and has a chat here, then swings and roundabouts. That is something that I've kind of been contemplating, Jerry, because, you know, I've been getting back into setting up how to properly do streaming stuff and that, because most of the ones that I do, like I've done them for like radio stations and such, mainly kind of very, very simple multicam type thing, not like joint streaming. But for example, if Brad and I wanted to both do something online simultaneously, then we could kind of do that and just like, you know, chat amongst ourselves with, you know, audio coming through in various ways and whatnot. Yeah, we could kind of both set that up at some point, which would be kind of neat. Do it like a podcast almost. Alright, so we've got a little bit of a lump there. So, I mean, all in all, these frets are actually in pretty good condition. Howdy, as we used to say at my old job. It's kind of funny when people hear me as an Aussie saying howdy. When I like randomly meet people or whatever else like that, they're like, wait, where are you from? It's like, I don't know, I just obviously consumed way too much American media growing up, so I picked up the whole saying howdy thing. It's not like I walk up and go, g'day, how's it going? Yeah. Although when I do get angry or when I do have a bit too much to drink, I do revert to my traditional bogan self, you know, being the, you know, sort of import bogan that I am. It's brilliant. So these frets are actually in pretty good condition, except for that section down there. So what I'd normally do anyway with these, I'd probably do a slight bit of a fall off on the front end anyway. So a little bit of tape there, like 2 pieces of masking tape. It just puts the slightest little bit of a downward ramp on those frets there, which just tends to deal with any kind of issues from there. I'm not a cowboy, but I'm not a cowboy either, because horse people are really, really weird. I once dated one. PCB and cabinet design. Nice. So is that for your new amps that you're looking at doing, huh? Tearing apart PAs for parts. Oh, that sounds painful. However, sometimes you got to do it, especially with like little tiny pots. You can buy them individually for like $10 a piece, or you can buy like an old dead mixer for like $100 that has like 40 of them in there. Spend a little bit of time desoldering them, zzz, zzz, out they come. Sweet, got yourself some, you know, plenty of pots there. Recycle the bits. 100F, what the, mate, we're in Australia. We talk in the Queen's English here, or the King's English now, apparently. Fahrenheit. Funny little silly made-up numbers that they are. Yeah, I have no idea what the temperature is outside. I'm not willing to step outside because, damn, it's hot. Obviously not as hot as out where you are in Penrith, but it's still pretty bad here in the inner west. My workshop, like the back half of the store, is is all like there's no AC, but my AC is literally on the other side of my door here, blowing into the front half of the shop. So I need to either get a second AC unit to blow inside of here as well, or get like a fan to blow out this way. Feels like you spent all week working on SMD gear. Yeah, you're an absolute madman. Fixing stuff that, I mean, I probably wouldn't have the patience to do it, honestly. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like I could, or I could just get a replacement preamp for it. You know, it's especially stuff like the Taylor things that it's like, you know, you can kind of jump in, you can troubleshoot them, you can do all that kind of stuff, but it seems like a lot of effort for, you know, something where I'm sure the part's not a huge amount expensive. Did I get my aircon fixed? It's intermittent. It works. I think that there's an issue with a leak in there because when it's operating, what happens is that sometimes it'll just cut out and it'll have code EL01. So I brought up the service manual for it. And service manual EL01 is a code for an electrical communications error between the head unit and the compressor. So there's probably a leak somewhere that's causing something to go on, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, I suppose, but then again, we can get parts at wholesale, so you know, I can make it that way, and then I can turn over that time to work on the next repair that's easier, rather than spending, you know, sinking a bunch of time trying to fix that. If I can do things quick and bang, 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 cool, move on to the next thing. I don't know. I kind of need to be a little bit more picky about some elements of the business here. Like I've just like sorted out kind of like the future of it, getting away from the budget things. Because oh my god, seriously, like in the last week I've had about a dozen people message me about a $200 Jackson that I'm selling. Right? Can you do it for 100? Can you do it for 120? Can you do it 150? Dude, it's a $200 guitar. Buy it. It's like when I used to work at Godfrey's and the people who walked in and were spending like the least amount of money on a vacuum were the ones that gave the biggest headaches. You know, they wanted every discount and they wanted it to work perfectly and they were, just no thanks. Mostly for the odd jacks. They are PC mount 90 degrees instead of flat mount. I mean, if they're those kinds of jacks, surely they're easily obtainable from like any of the sort of regular suppliers or something. It's kind of like had a GK in the other day, and it had a busted jack on there. So pulled the board, got the jack, got the jack numbers for them, and got them because they were a Neutrik one. A lot of people don't find those kinds of weird esoteric parts, but you know, Mauser had them. They're like $3-4 a piece. They were better quality than the ones that were in there because GK spec'd like the cheapest no-name ones in there. Put the better ones in there, you can see the quality difference between them. It's not a bloody street market in Bali, yeah. But even then, I mean, you go to a country like that and you have money, man, I'm not going to haggle over like a $10 item. I'm going to be like, you know what? I'm from a well-to-do Western country. I have enough money to travel over there. Here's your asking price. Unless there are, I mean, look, there are exceptions to that rule. For example, when you go to Japan or some such and they hand you what they call like the gaijin menu, and the gaijin menu is like 30% more expensive than the Japanese ones because they're trying to like rip off the tourists. That pisses me off though. You know, if it's like, here's the price, okay, cool. Whereas somewhere like Bali or India or Bangladesh or something like that, you go through and here's something incredibly cheap already. Someone might come along and negotiate for it, whereas I go like, $4, whatever, I'll pay it, cool. This person needs to make a living, I can do that, awesome, there you go. Going to an izakaya in Japan and they hand you a menu, but you can see one of the Japanese ones and you know a bit about Japanese and you look at it and go, huh, you know what? That guy's paying like, you know, 20% less just because the menu is written in Japanese. It's like, well, you know, I could either use Google Translate or look at it, and you kind of call them out on that because it's actually legal. It's illegal to do that. It's 12. I have no beer. Word gets around and they follow you like flies. Yeah, but that's also the thing as well. It's like if I'm buying something and I've got the money and they've got something I want, then I'll do it. But if they just start coming up and going, oh, buy this thing, I don't need a Bintang singlet. Do I look like I'm named Dane? Don't answer that. But yeah, I don't know. I can haggle and do with the best of it. I've done all that kind of stuff. It's absolutely kind of crazy. But yeah, I'm gonna. If I got the money, I'm gonna pay. That's just the way I do things. That's my vibe, man. Infectious Grooves playing at Blues Fest with Rob too. Yeah, that is kind of wild, huh? It's like just random. G'day, everyone. Watching Brad build a Princeton now here. Nice. Yeah, it's like that classic joke, Yeah, mate, my name's Dane. I'm coming here to Bali because, I need after a hard month, working out on the site and all the rest of that. Come over here, have a bit of a good time. Oh, God, there we go. Yeah, I don't know. Bali isn't one of those places I'm really kind of interested in. Vietnam, I totally want to check out. That'd be wild, Vietnam looks nice. I don't know. Bali just doesn't quite hold any interest for me. Although, before heading to Japan this year, we're going to Taiwan, which would be nice. So a couple of days there. It's like 3 days, 2 nights. Managed because I booked the flights and they were business class via my good old Qantas points. I was like, oh, I can go to Taiwan and then from Taiwan to Tokyo. All right, let's do this. I wanted to check it out anyway, My mate G-Man goes 3 times a year, owns many Bintang singlets. Look, as long as he doesn't have the word family tattooed on his neck, then I'm sure he's a decent bloke. Oh, dearie me. Yeah. Ugh. Stay. I managed to completely mess up while I was doing my booking, actually, for this trip and holiday. I managed to book accommodation for, because I was supposed to stay in Asakusa in Tokyo for a couple of days when we first land, so the 22nd of March to the 27th. And I managed to screw that up and book it for the 22nd of January. I almost lost 100,000 Qantas frequent flyer points, which are worth a fair chunk. I use pure tone jacks for all my guitar jacks. Yep, double contact and they don't let loose. Expensive, but 1 per guitar. Unfortunately, they don't make shorting jacks. Yeah, I mean, I've seen the pure tone ones. They seem kind of okay. They're all right. Just seems a bit redundant. I mean, ultimately, the phone jack is literally over 100 years old. It's like, God, they designed, it was made in like the 1880s or something. A real simple, like, mechanical connection. So it is one of those things where it kind of works. It does what it needs to. A good quality switchcraft jack is still a good quality switchcraft jack. It's still going to last like a lot of years. But, some of the cheap ones, not so much. There we go. Yeah, switchcraft ones have always done well. I can get a hold of the pure tone ones because I've got an account with Floyd Rose. I've just never actually used it. I had big plans with the business a couple of years back and was getting it all set up, and then a bunch of stuff happened where I was basically setting up a side of the business that just dealt in parts, because there's a lot of parts that don't have representation in Australia. So my favourite lens has just started making a quiet clicking noise when autofocusing. Oof. Ouch. I mean, depending on how much the lens is, there are people out there who still fix them. You might even be able to fix it yourself. I don't like repairing lenses because all that dust and the chance of potentially getting, like, stuff inside the elements. Nah, thanks. No, I'll pass. But hey, all you have to do is just wait until we go to Japan. I'll point you in the direction of where a couple of the really nice shops are that sell second-hand camera gear that you can get super cheap, and sick. 17mm f1.8, so that's equivalent to 34mm 1.8. Nice. Yeah, I still got my one lens, just kind of sticking with it. Yeah, repairing lenses freaks me out. It's like, repairing lenses is one of those things where it's like, Obviously, it does make somewhat of a difference when you have to like clean them or do things or whatever else like that. But it's like, how much of a difference does it actually make on modern lenses? How like high fidelity they are. Working on an ancient lens with an old coating, sure, but like cleaning and coating on some of them doesn't like destroy them. They still work brilliantly. They still do the jobby. Yeah, lenses are major surgery. So I will pass on that one. That's why, you know, when I had my flooding event years ago, all the cameras, lenses, all that, off they went to the bin. Well, not the bin. They went to the insurance company, and then they went them to the bin or something probably. I don't know, something. All I know is I got paid out for it, so yay. Made my money out of that. That's the out of there. Cool. Excellent. And that's the broad thread, that's less broad thread, that is that one there. Cool. Yeah, Peter will fix anything. He doesn't care. What's some good 60s Strat pickups? Well, the thing is, right, there is no such thing really as a 60s Strat pickup. Fender made pickups. They made so many of them. They were so, like, a bunch of them wound at the same time on winding machines, and some of them were a little more overwound, some of them were a little bit less. There's just good pickups depending on what your kind of tone is, you know. I like the Seymour Duncan SSL 1s and the SSL 3s. They're quite nice. If you want something budget, the Tone Riders are brilliant. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of these small pickup winding guys. It's like, it is what it is. It's just, it's a pickup. Here's some wire wrapped around a magnetic thing. There's no magic about them. Make them decent, sell them for a decent price. Yeah, if I want that kind of like old school, like 60s-ish kind of sound in that, yeah, like I said, I'd go for something like the Seymour Duncan SSL 1s or SSL 3s. And yeah. But that is personally me. Everyone has their own opinions and all that kind of wonderful jazz. I'm going to use the nicer screws on that one there. Still, like, one of the pickups that I find to be absolutely amazing, especially for how much they go for, is the Tone Rider pickups. Like, they are simply, like, the best you can get at that price point. Like, it's insane. Everyone laser cuts their own flat work in-house these days. It's not that hard. You can pick up a laser cutter for like $1,000 online. You get the fibro board or whatever. My mate Adam owns Elysian Pickups in the US. He does some wild stuff. Plus, he actually has a patent on a particular type of design that he calls a tuned aperture coil. It's actually an interesting sort of concept. So what it is, right, is I'll link it in the chat here, right? So he's actually at NAMM at the moment, and if you've seen the on the Chibs in USA like Instagram and Facebook page and that, they made one which was like a double cream pickup that had like 4 coils on it. He actually physically made one and put it into a solar guitar. Ola actually saw it at NAMM. He's like, "What did you do to my guitar?" Which I thought was brilliant. There we go, so we control that one there. So, if we look at this here, there we go. So that's his website, there, right? Elysian Pickups. But what he's got this thing that he calls a tuned aperture coil, and in other words, what it is basically putting a gap on one end of the coil compared to the magnets, so changing like some of the resonance and magnetic properties and all that kind of stuff, which makes them sound kind of unique. You know, it does some different things to the capacitance and all that. So what it is it's like a wedge that actually goes onto the magnets or the coils in the center there. And what it does is, like, for example, on one end of the pickup, it'll place the actual wire of the coil further from the magnet. As you get to the other side, it gets in closer. It's interesting stuff. He actually does a blade version of it too, where the blades are actually like wedge shaped. They look sick. They sound cool too. A couple of years ago, I had him custom wind some pickups for a customer here because he wanted something unique, a particular thing. So I got him to wind some pickups that were kind of like a medium output that was a bit versatile, did some good stuff, and they sounded brilliant. So yeah, if, you know, he's sort of like someone who I'd point in the direction of if you're over in the US and you're wanting some interesting stuff. Mainly does like a lot of metal things, but he does, back to what we were saying, like with people who laser cut stuff and that, he does everything. Because he used to be a CNC operator. He actually worked for Collings. You know, he did, like he worked in the finishing department of Collings and all the rest of that. He does guitar building and everything as well. So with all of those elements, he kind of like covers a bit of a broad spectrum of what's there. There we go. Yeah, like the pickups he does are kind of neat. They're cool. That goes there. Alright. That's what, alright, I might have to change these screws because they're a bit funky. A little bit. Now, where are my Allen keys? Added some cabinets to the cabinet page. Nice. Good stuff. That is funky. Where's my little picky do lacquer? There we go. Yeah, I mean, pickups are pickups. People say, oh, I want the sound of this particular guitar or this pickup. It's like, why? It wasn't even used on half the records that you're, like, obsessed with and all that. And absolutely not on there. But also, pickups were so wildly different back then, because it's not like we have, like, modern CNC winding and stuff that can get it to a point where it is ridiculously, like, close tolerances. I mean, sometimes with the machines on, like, in Gibson's factory and they were winding them, they were, like, up to 10, 20% hotter, so you'd have, like, one pickup that was way louder than the other. As with anything, you know, lace sensors, lace pickups, they're not bad. They got their sound to them. Use whatever. Play your guitar. Make sound. Use what's there. Do the Tom Morello thing. The Tom Morello thing is he went out and chased up a bunch of different things and, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make this, and I'm going to have this sound and all the rest of that. And he went through 5 million things and ended up with a guitar he didn't really like and an amp that he wasn't overly fond of. So what did he do? He just said, you know what, to hell with it. I'm going to use what I have. And that's what that blue Super Strat type thing is that he has, which actually, contrary to popular belief, has single coils in it. So it's got the EMG-H pickups in there. So they're active single coils in a humbucker casing. And of course he used the, you know, Marshall split channel JCM 800. That was his sound. He just used whatever was there. And then of course for drop D he uses the Telecaster. And he uses the neck pickup pretty much exclusively on it. So whenever you hear someone playing Killing in the Name of or something, it's inevitably they're doing it wrong. It's the neck pickup and it's got to be single coil. Yeah, and this is the problem, right? This is what so many people do, and I read it online with all of the people who are doing that kind of stuff on the Facebook page, on YouTube, on all that kind of jazz, right? They're so focused on the 1% extra. Forget the 1%. You can get more of that in your playing. Use whatever. Grab a piece of gear and start playing with it. Don't focus on the stupid shit. Make music. It makes a big, big difference. It's like, you know, I'm a bit of a hypocrite on that side because, I mean, you know, it's I go through and I'm like so focused on doing, oh, I've got to do this, I've got to have it that way, and I've got to have it this way, rather than just, here I am in front of the camera, let's do it. Let's do stuff that I know. Yeah, a lot of people kind of need to get on board with that as well when it comes to guitar playing. Shut up and play. You know. Okay, so I need some more screws. Where's my screw box? There it is, screw box. Not that one, not that one. This one. Okay. What do I got here? Okay, one of the many screw boxes. Now, are those metric size or are they, because these are metric, aren't they? Fine thread. Ah, damn it. That may be problematic, potentially. So I do actually need to place through a parts order. I'm running a bit low on some. Aha, there we go. Got some spares here that should do the job here. How big are they? That size. So that size should line up to perfect, like a drum. See, even that. I have owned almost every Mesa that you can imagine. My time having the studio and doing session work and all the rest of that and gigging and doing all that, I've played almost every amp you can imagine. I've played countless types of guitars and all the rest of that, right? I don't hate Mesas from a tonal standpoint. Are there better options? Sure. Are there ones better built? Hell yeah. They're absolute turds in that regard. But, I can't hate them all that much, right? No, I need longer ones. Is it? Was that really? Is that it? Or have I got the... Oh, they are too short. Derp. Stupid bleeding. Next size up. So yeah, so I suppose I'm a little... I'm both very critical, but also a little softer on some things, you know? And as far as like those channels and all the rest of that out there who do a lot of gear stuff, I actually don't watch most of them because they kind of don't interest me. Or when they cover things, it's like, you got that wrong, you got that wrong, you got that wrong. Yeah, I mean, those expensive, especially boutique amps, right? The big, expensive, hyper boutique, like, you know, cork sniffer certified type things that inevitably sound terrible. But, you know, players love them for some reason. God only knows why, but they do. Yeah. Especially when people are like, you know, oh, Joe Bonamassa was once like, you know, 10 feet within this amp and he breathed in its direction once. I think he might have, like, you know, decided to walk somewhat close to it, so therefore it's got a connection to him. It must be worth it. When will people realize this? Look, people get paid to a certain point. You can make money on these things while still having an opinion. The problem is these opinions often aren't informed in the same technical way that we are, right? I have no qualms in someone making money on reviewing stuff and checking things out and all the rest of that, you know. It is what it is. We work within the system we've got. But you can also be a bit more kind of realistic about things. I mean, there's no such thing as a bad sounding piece of gear for the most part. There are very few pieces of gear that I've come across where it's like, that sounds terrible, its function is absolutely crap, and it should go in the bin. Very, very few. Are there some out there? Yes. Not everything is, however. In saying that, of course, there are, you know, there is that whole thing where you've got guys who do stuff and it's like, oh, this sounds amazing, it's great. They're not critical of it in any way, shape, or form. And then you've got other people who have a very sort of negative disposition about stuff where everything is bad and it's like, oh, it's not good enough, it doesn't sound as good as this, doesn't sound as good as that, blah, 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 blah. Fine, you know, there's a fine balance between them. I like to think that, you know, in my case, I'm a bit more positive on things whilst also being a bit more negative on things simultaneously. Is there something I don't like? Well, yeah, I'm going to say whether I don't like it. You know, is it built like crap? Is the company, you know, doing things that are bad for the consumer? That's a big one for me, right? Does it sound good? Does it sound bad? It is, whatever. If you say you love everything that you're paid to, you're a liar and have no integrity, and your opinion is meaningless and irrelevant. See, the question I have with that is, right? If you say you love everything you get paid to, right? What if they do actually have that opinion, though? And the money is separate. Obviously, the money is going to push it in one particular direction, right? You know, some people are just going to like whatever they like or anything else like that. Some people, you know, are more critical of those things there, but not necessarily everyone who has like an opinion of something is going to be kind of in that realm. I mean, hell, countless times, for example, someone like Lewis Rossman's gotten it wrong before. We all have our biases. That's it. That's just how some people are. I have my biases, you know? I think Yamaha are the duck's nuts. Awesome. However, there have been times where I look at stuff and go, that is a bad design choice. That is bad. That has not been made to that point. It is less common, you know? But like, if I'm going to, you know, in my case, I'll probably start doing stuff and I will probably take sponsorships. I will do that kind of stuff. And I will stipulate in the things I got. It's like, if I'm going to do this, well, I'm going to have an honesty clause. It is going to be my opinion. That is it. If people want to listen to it, cool, whatever. But I'm not going to be beholden to a company. I'm not going to you know, take on things I don't believe in. If you love a hissy, humming, gritty, noisy piece of shit, then your opinion is still meaningless and irrelevant. You mean like half of the amps up until the 1980s, and even a bunch in the 1980s, that guys recorded with and did a lot of stuff with? Equipment isn't perfect. None of it is. Least of all in the realms of like guitars and stuff like that. You know, a lot of what we do is like terrible stuff. We work with what we got. You know, I mean, the original fuzz pedals suck from a design standpoint. They were designed to make like a distorted signal with the fewest components because they were expensive. But they are terrible from like a design standpoint, right? So, of course people use them. They were hissy, they were noisy. Who cares? It worked. It did what it did. Is there a better way to make a fuzz face? I mean, not really. Not if you want that particular sound with that the way it works, right? Amps as well. I mean, those old Marshalls, they hummed like an absolute mofo because of the crappy grounding schemes on them. People still used them. That's kind of the point. A company like Mesa, yeah, they shouldn't be that loud. They shouldn't be that hissy. They shouldn't be that noisy. The Mark II and Mark III, brilliant amps. Designed weird, but you know they were good amps. The dual rectifier, the first 2-channel version, built like shit. Unless you pull it apart, you don't know that, but they sound good. It's kind of like people who drive cars. You know, some people will drive a car and go, "This is brilliant, I love this, it's absolutely excellent," because they're like, you know, awesome driver or whatever. And then the mechanic is like, "This thing is terrible, why did you bring it in for me to work on?" You know? Safety non-compliance. See, that's a different thing as well, right? Let's return to this. So, I'm sure that there are people out there, for example, who review cars, who don't look over the entire unit to look in there and go, how is it to replace the water pump? How is it to, for example, fix certain things? Is a kid going to get their finger cut off? I mean, the Tesla Cybertruck, big piece of junk, never should have been made. And it is a prime example, right? For example, there's a guy who did like the video, and they did like the carrot test, right? With auto shutting mechanisms. Put a carrot there, simulate a finger, what happens to it? They did it on a Cybertruck, and it basically took it off, destroyed it. Because there's no like safety mechanism to stop that. That is terrible. And there are like, you know, reviewers who won't check that stuff out. But for example, with what we do, guitars, you can see them, you can play them, all that. People who are still like, oh, I only had to go through 4 Fenders of the exact same model to find one that was really playable, but when I did it was good, that's not acceptable. Someone who picks up an amp and goes, this thing sounds cool, you know, awesome, okay, but if they don't know and they don't look inside and go, okay, that's a bit of a safety issue, that's going to blow up and those pads are way too small, then, you know, messes with switchable plug earth pin, fuse neutrals, death caps in 2023. Yeah, shitty design, they're terrible, they're bad. But how do they sound? That's what most people care about. It's like people who drive cars. How does it drive? They don't care about how easy it is to maintain. They're focused on that one element from a usability standpoint, you know? It's the same with a lot of things. And yeah, I don't follow reviews, honestly. None of that stuff is for me. The only time I look at any reviews is when I look at users using them and their experience on repairs and serviceability afterwards. So, you know, for example, when I was selecting my dryer, because I needed a new dryer, right? Went out there and I checked and I did my research, read up things. I'm a more informed consumer than most people. So I was, all right, cool. I'm going to find a good quality condenser heat pump dryer and I'm going to buy that. And then I went through, read the reviews, read all that, read what the availability of parts was like as well, because that was important to me as well. And I picked my particular unit. $1,500 later, there we go, ended up with that. There isn't anyone out there who does what you and I do, Brad. How do we get out there to do it? How do we become something like those pedal dorks or all those? By doing this stuff with a focus on the commercial side to allow the algorithm to push it further there. So people will send stuff and go, you know what, these guys have the trust of the people out there. We will send their products to them because they will be honest, and if they grace us with their, you know, with their good notes, awesome. Then people will buy our product even more so. Play the game. Get in the system, mess around with it like that. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. You know, for example, I pulled apart the the EQD life pedal. And I made note of the fact that when those microprocessors in them go bad, you're shit out of luck. You can't fix them unless you know what you're doing and you know how to bypass the relay. So if you take that system and you modify the PCB just a wee bit to have some little solder pads on top where you can just tack on a regular hard switch, brings it back to life. Awesome. That would be a good idea. So I was still positive on the product. It sounded brilliant. It did what it did, was awesome. And that was my concern, which was brought up on that. It's like with guitars as well. You know, if I have a guitar that comes in and it's built like crap or whatever, I will let them know, you know, this is not ideal. This is where QC is bad. Like when I got the Moa GTRSs in, they were brilliant. They have no right being that much guitar for that price. They hit the nail on the head. Ah yes, the Gibson Falcon Series amps in Australia, $5,500. What the hell? $5.5 grand for that? No, that is a no. That is a hard no. That is insanity for a single channel amp. Like, mate, to quote the great Aussie proverb, tell him he's dreaming. Like, legitimately, what are they thinking? The compliance costs on that to get them in the country are not that expensive. Not by a long shot. There is no reason that it should be that much. Not at all. No. Yeah, they certainly don't look great, unfortunately. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens when they finally make their way into the country, which will probably be in a couple of months, because Australia's fine, they got their stuff. Oh, no, Brad, mate. They're $5,500. Remember, I have an account with the supplier. There we go. The RRP is that one there, that one there. That one there, where is it? That one there. Blah, 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 blah. No, that's where I want, that one there, that one there. Show me the things, huh? There we go. Jesus. Oh my God, that is bloody insane. Here you go. Bump. Right there. That is the Australian. That is the Australian retail price. Yeah, I've seen photos of the inside of the Falcon, and it just looks like a really, really like cheap amp. It doesn't look like it's worth that price. The pads are still tiny. The layout is slightly better. At least they're finally using at least they're finally doing it digitally and not using Letraset. So, yeah. But yeah, that's a product that's a that's a no in my book. Even when I go down the route of prepping the shop for doing the whole more boutique type stuff, Mesa won't be one of those brands. I'm not interested in them. Sir, Fredman, cool. Soldano, sure. I mean, yeah, basically the boutique amps brands. Okay, awesome. You know, even some of the others that are kind of okay. And of course, you know, I'm starting to plan some amps as well. You know, do a couple of those. Do them the way I do, but yeah. Oh. Looks like the one I got in the pawn shop in the 80s. Except the ones that were in the 80s were kind of made okay. It's like a Harley Benton, honestly. You have to be a bit ill-informed to buy one. Yeah, you really do. So how do we make people more informed? By getting into their feeds, by showing them what this stuff is about from our point, by taking money from people and by being honest, by showing this is what it's about. You know, you want something that's going to, you know, do the job for what you're after. All right, cool. Come along, check out the channel, check out what we do. Sweet. Yeah, that is fun. But I mean, look, let's be honest. Most of the original Gibson amps were terrible. Like, they designed and sounded awful. Absolutely horrid. A set of GTM 4550 transformers. Oh, nice. Sick. Is like one of the old Drake transformers. Diagonals. Right. Nice. That'll be pretty solid. Get in there. Come on. There we go. Yeah, I've got some plans and all the rest of that for amp-related things, especially since I got so many of these Aussie amps that came in. It's like, aha, haha. I can take a look at sorting out some of those and make them a bit kind of cool. Because, yeah, A&R were absorbed into another company, and Ferguson actually still exists. They were absorbed into another company as well. Oh, man. Every single one of these bloody screws is, like, corroded in. Bugger. I have to keep using the screw grabbers. That goes there, that goes there. And we pull them back out the way they went. Oh, come on. Go. Damn it. There we go. Sweet. Yeah. See those old Gibson amps? It's like old Ampeg amps as well. They weren't designed well for modern use cases, right? The original Ampegs and the original Gibsons and similar were trying to do different things. I mean, Gibson as a company didn't want to embrace the electric guitar at all. The reason why they did what they did and all that was because they were so stodgy and so conservative in how they did things. Les Paul, when he went to them and said, hey, I want a... factory got it wrong in '66. Yeah, that too. That sounds about right. Yeah, when Les Paul went to Gibson and said, hey, I want you to build me a guitar, I've got this great idea. What he wanted was a guitar that was built entirely out of maple, solid maple, neck, body, a whole lot. They didn't want to do it, though, because their clientele was the jazz guitarists who were very sort of stuck to their old ways, didn't want to do any of this kind of new, fancy, dangled stuff. So all of the original advertising and marketing was all about how the Les Paul solid body electric Spanish guitar was mahogany. The gold tops were marketed as being all mahogany. That's why the original ones, when they came out, the binding actually went all the way around the edge and it followed the lip of the cap, so people couldn't tell that it was actually a maple cap. That was their concession to him, right? They were like, okay, fine, we're not going to make the whole thing out of maple, but what we'll do is we'll give you a guitar that has a maple top to it. So, yeah, they ended up doing that. The original Les Paul Custom, of course, was solid mahogany. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Gibson as a company, when they were designing amps, it was more like an afterthought, and they didn't want the big massive thing. They were still going for their jazz guys and stuff that was more on the demure side, so they had very muted circuits. They had ones that didn't have great amounts of treble to them because they didn't want that sound. They wanted the small club players, the guys in New York, the guys who were doing that kind of stuff, not these fancy rock and roll country yahoos. Come on, get out. Man, this is bad. Oh, get out. Come on, are we done? Bloody hell. This screw is terrible. Yeah, he was trying to replicate the log. But even then, I mean, like his original guitars, you can see photos of them online and how he did things. He was always tinkering constantly, everything. He put his own trem on there. The original the original gold tops that he had, he pulled the pickups and that out of them, put low impedance ones in there, and inside of them as well were actually dummy coils. So with dummy coils that were reverse wound and that to give him hum cancelling. So he had that hum cancelling thing because his whole shtick was going direct into console. He wanted that super clean, pristine type sound. He didn't use amps. He didn't use anything like that. So his guitars had those low impedance pickups, which is why when he came back as a Gibson endorsee and that, and they started making his model guitars and similar. They had the low impedance electronics, like the Les Paul signature model, the semi-hollow one, the Les Paul personal, Les Paul recording, and that with the big, massive, like round soap bar type things. So, and those microphone inputs on top, yeah. And then it was all connected up to the Les Paul Pulverizer. You know, the Les Paul Pulverizer, which was basically like a playback system for multi-track, so he could play back what was there. It was really, really interesting. Of course, you know, him with Bing Crosby, giving him the funds that and working towards creating more with multi-tracking, because Les Paul, of course, was part of the Les Paul trio, which backed up Bing Crosby as well. And then one of the very, very earliest tracks was It's Been a Long Time. You know, that song there was one of the earliest electric guitar solos on a recording. And yeah, so he was all about doing that kind of thing and wanting to expand and create more with that. So, you know, going into the realms of tape machines and multi-track recording to help Bing get more of those sounds happening. He was a very, very switched on dude. Like, legitimately, he was an actual innovator in the realms of guitar and music. I collect Baldwin, yes! Finally found a matching amp. 212 plus 215 plus 2x7s. Oh my god. Wow, that is intense. That's like weird PA type territory. But yeah, some of the Baldwin stuff was kind of interesting. You know, like, because you had, like, obviously the Baldwin Burns Prismatone that, what's his name, Willie Nelson uses on Trigger, that weird solid state amp and the pickup system from that. And then, of course, you know, the Baldwin's organs and similar, and then when they were purchased by Gibson and all that kind of fun stuff. But yeah. I have never bought a Jaguar. Maybe I need to buy one. I mean, they're interesting. They're an interesting guitar. The shorter scale, some people like it, some people don't. I don't mind a Jaguar when it's got like a proper tunematic or something in there. When it doesn't have that kind of thing and this kind of bridge, unless you're really doing that weird kind of esoteric rock stuff, it doesn't work ideally. Yeah, so. These ones, the 1.5. No, they're the smaller ones. I need the others. Boop, come here. And a morning to you, Neil, as well. Yeah. Like I said, Jaguars are kind of cool. They're also from an era when the reason why they even exist in the first place is because guitar strings at that point were flat wound and very heavy. So you had like a standard guitar string set was like a 12 to 52 or 12 to 54, similar type things. So when someone comes along and they pick up one of these and they put 9s on it, they're like, why does it feel so, I don't like it, oh, it's terrible, it buzzes and horrible. Bleh. It's like, let's set it up to play it the way it was meant to, right? Put on a set of 12s on there. Suddenly it feels like a normal guitar, like a you know, standard 10 to 46 type set. They feel and play a lot better, and the tone is a little bit more there as well, because you know that's why they had the shorter scale. They were designed by Leo, who wasn't a player, but he wanted something that was easier for them to play like student guitars that had a shorter scale because of the heavy strings, and also so you could play faster, so you could move on there. You know, so that's why the shorter scale came in handy. It's kind of like Gibson in the 60s, late 60s, when they started doing that whole thing of a really, really, really narrow nut, like 1 9/16 or whatever it was. Like they're like pencil necks, basically. Some people really don't like them. I can play them, I can stand them. Not my personal favourite, but you know, I can get by on them. But yeah, like these types of guitars were designed for that different kind of thing. So I used to use 48s on 24.75 and 52s on 24. See, I used to use real heavy strings when I was younger because I was poor. So I couldn't afford like strings to break. So I used to use 13 to 60s tuned to D standard because it was easier to not have to replace them. As I got older and strings became not such a problem for me to get a hold of, I kind of went to less. So, for example, my regular guitars are all just 10 to 46, pretty much across the board. Don't care if it's 24 1/4 or 25 1/2. But when I'm playing like my drop C guitars, they're just in they've just got 10 to 52s on there. That's it, a little bit looser. The ones that I have otherwise though, like my baritones, that's like a 14 to 70 set, because I got like a Mike Mashock 28-inch scale. And then I've also got like my 7 strings. So my 7 strings are just a standard 10 to 46 set, but with a 59 on the low. That's why I tend to prefer those ones. I have a lot of guitars. I have way too many. Like, way too many. Ernie Ball heavy bottoms would be alright for those, I think. My personal preferences for Strats, yeah. I used to use 10 to 52s when I was younger, but I don't know, I kind of got over that whole having to fight the guitar thing. As I got better with my technique and various other elements, I started going a little bit looser. I went more, you know, I could control my right hand better, so I could get kind of better results without it rattling all over the place. 9 to 46. See, I don't like 9s. They're kind of a bit too loose for me on the high strings. I like the 10s a little bit more. But 46 is plenty. What I'm not a fan of, though, is like Ernie Ball and their 500,000 different goddamn string gauges. Like, seriously. You don't need a 0.5 of an inch string gauge. It makes no sense. The tension difference is going to be minimal, but also tolerances are generally not that tight. Like, just makes no sense. It's another one of those things where, I mean, Sterling Ball is a great marketing man, you know. So they obviously want to make people try new things and buy new things and do all sorts of odd stuff. Okay, where's my thingy? Nope, there it is. But yeah, as far as strings go, I use elixirs. That's it. That's what I do. Ernie Ball used to include high B and high E strings, made them very popular in the 60s and 70s. I'll tell you who still does that. Rotosound. Rotosound still do that in their strings. Let me show you what I mean. Awesome. Alright. Let's go to here, and then that one there. Right, so those are Rotosounds. If ever you've heard any British album between the 50s and the 2000s, would have been Rotosounds. So they're British-made string, they've been around for decades. They actually invented the round wound bass string, which is pretty cool. And yeah, they include in their Roto sets a spare high E string in the packet as a throwback to the day. Interesting side note, if you're a fan of The Who and you've heard the album The Who Sells Out, on that album was a jingle they did for Rotosound strings. That's the brand. Still made in Britain, still excellent. Yeah, I mean, Rotosound are just brilliant. I love their jazz bass flat wounds, they're cool. Their linear pressure wound ones they've got, which are kind of like a, basically they do the whole thing with the string where they kind of like compress them so the wrap becomes oval instead of fully round. So it's kind of like a ground wound bass string if you've ever played them. So kind of halfway between a round wound and a flat wound. They sound cool. Iomi, 8 gauge, 11, 18, 24, 32. Yeah. The thing with Iomi as well is he's also missing the tips of 2 fingers. So, of course, he used light ones, and of course, back in those days, you couldn't get the strings normally for them, so the old thing of using banjos strings on there. Billy Gibbons does use a 7 gauge. Your guitar is 25.1 inch scale length. The only guitar I can think of that is a 25.1 inch scale is the Ibanez S Classic series, the SC620, SC420, and the SC320, which were their sort of S-series models that were in a PRS-ish type vibe with their design aesthetics, wraparound bridges, all that kind of stuff. More like a classic thing. Really well-made guitars. Billy Gibbons does use 7s, and there's a bit of an anecdote, the old classic one where he goes up to, what's his name, B.B. King after he goes, man, your tone is so huge and your bends. What gauge are you using? It's like 12s, 13s. He's like, brother, I use 8s. Why work harder than I have to? And that's when he kind of like changed his mind on that and started going down that route. What have we got? One of my customers plays very heavy rock on 8 to 38, and he sounds and plays fantastic. yeah, not a huge factor in tone. If anything, too fat, unwound G strings sound really weird. Yes, I hate Ernie Ball's heavy strings because they have like a 24 to 26 inch plain G. It's terrible. Just put a wound one on there. Having a piece of rebar for your G string sounds awful, is terrible for like intonation, and overtones and harmonics are just awful, all over the place, terrible. Just get a wound G string. It's going to be better. Yeah. What have I got? Hold your band together with rotor sound strings. Yep. Like it was cool. Like it was a great little jingle. But yeah, rotor sound make really good strings. I like that. Might need stainless frets for that round wound though. Yeah. Yes and no. 9 is fine for me. Awesome. Randy Upchurch. Greetings, sir. I was passing by and saw the lights on and stopped in. New sub and much love from Southern Illinois. Peace. And to you too, brother. Thank you muchly for stopping on by for this, you know, bit of a stream and a chat with a random Aussie guy. Illinois is kind of cool. You know, interesting kind of vibe in that. Dude who I bought one of my guitars from, who actually works at Chicago Music Exchange now, is from sort of that end of the state, if I remember correctly. I used rotor sound bass strings in the 70s. They broke, so I never purchased again. Maybe time to take another look. Nah, I'm sure nothing has changed. Of course not. Nothing changes in the world. It's always exactly as it was back in the past. That's why American cars are still so absolutely amazing, and I don't know, insert other random topical joke here. Honestly, yeah, the haircut thing and the beard. My barber's in Campbelltown, man. I don't go out there anymore. I can't get to him, so I have to find a new one. But I'm not going to be paying like $100 to some hipster barber around here. Can't even do a proper wet shave. You know, no. I need to find an old dude who actually has a certificate on his wall from, you know, Technical and Further Education, New South Wales, about how he did his barber's apprenticeship back in 1985. It's an electrical guitar company standard model. Ah, right. So it's got an aluminum neck on there. I have worked on a couple of their instruments. They're kind of interesting. They're neat. Yeah, never have a thick G string. Always want to have a little teeny tiny, itty tiny thing. Oh man. I swear, playing with these screws, itchiness of the nose, again, ugh. Haven't seen me recently, Brad. I haven't had time to get a trim. Yeah. This is going to be one of those real nightmarish ones, isn't it? Alright. Well, I thank you, Brad, for being my cheer squad today. That definitely comes in handy. Ow. I have the itchy nose again. It's terrible. Wait, did that just jump? It did. Oh, nice. I use the local Lebanese guys. They do a great job. Dude, I'm in Enmore. There are no local Lebanese guys here anymore. My guy down in Campbelltown was $45 for a haircut and a shave. And he was a proper old school guy by the name of Paul, all that kind of jazz. He had a full-on coif. It was brilliant. Yeah, so he was like right near my shop. I used to go down, visit him and that. And it was all the... Oh, ow. Oh, that hurt. It was all the old guys that were there. Used to go see him, but it was like proper, like, you know, had the towels, had all that, did the shaves, did the whole kit and caboodle, like could properly do the stuff the way you'd expect. There is none of that, unfortunately, here in hipster Newtown. Just a bunch of self-proclaimed barbers who have no idea what the hell they're doing. And, you know, I went and paid like $80, $90 or something for a shave and a haircut, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 months back. It was the worst experience I've ever had. My face hurt afterwards, seriously. Like, they had no idea what the hell they were doing. It's like, you don't just, like, dry shave a face when you're trimming it, and that's like, where's your sink? Where's your, like, you know, your towel? Where's the things to open up the pores? Where's, dude, seriously, it is. Like, the Amtech business and the world of, barbers, way closer than you'd think. Oh, man, this is going to be a hard one. All right, one last screw, come on. Oh, come on, grab it and do it. Go. There we go, mofo. Wonderful tool, these things. Grabbers. So when screws get seized in something, you can actually grab them and give them a proper twist. Yep. Full hot towel dealio. That's what my old guy did and had the motions and all that kind of stuff. So I'm afraid to have a trem. Just need to look out. Just need to learn how to look after it. It's easy. Trems aren't that scary or that hard to do. It's just, you know, as with anything, you just got to learn how to do it. If you're in Sydney, I'd say come along and do one of the setup workshops I run. But I don't know when I'll be doing another one of those. Ow! Managed to caught myself with this with that tool, cleaning pin tool. Great tool, very sharp. So I have to go grab a Band-Aid in a moment. Barbers outside of military bases. I will have to take your word on that. Our military bases are kind of like out in the middle of nowhere. So like out in Windsor or Moorebank or stuff like that, and there's not really anything like that nearby. I've got a younger brother actually who's in the Navy. Neck profile, some of the 80s wizard necks. You mean to tell me that a small company that specializes in niche, expensive products takes absolutely forever and delivers a product that maybe isn't exactly what they said? Shocked. Never heard of such a thing. I mean, look, at least it's better than what happened with people like Bernie Rico Jr. and all those kinds of people. That's why when someone comes to me and they goes, I want a custom guitar or I want something like that, it's like, is there something so unique that you can't get it from another instrument by modifying it? You know, is there something that someone really uses that is going to change your life as a player? If not, don't risk it with a lot of these small companies. Unless they've been doing it for a long time, they've got a real sort of track record with stuff. Nah. Did you only just notice that, Brad? The chat thing? Yeah. No, I've actually been going through and tweaking OBS. I've got to bring in some more stuff as well. So I've actually got proper scenes that I've been creating, proper borders and various bits and pieces with information and tags underneath. So, you know, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it properly. You know, if it's worth doing, it's worth half-arsing. Yeah, the aluminum necks pretty popular with like the stoner dudes and stuff. Here in Sydney, there's like a bunch of those guys who have them. They bring them in and go, oh, can you fit this neck onto the body? It's like, oh, great, it doesn't even fit properly. You have to properly do the what's-he, yeah. Yeah, I mean, setting all this up and being able to do a proper stream type setup, you know, being like a big boy, it'll make a big difference. I actually just ordered a new interface as well for doing this. So Yamaha make the AGS 08, which is kind of like their version of the TC Helicon Go XLR or the Rodecaster Pro thingy. So what it is it's an 8-channel audio interface. So it's got 2 mic inputs. Both of them are also line, and the second one is also high Z, so you can actually plug guitar straight in. So I'll basically have that on the bench here. It's also got a couple of other stereo line inputs as well. And it's got things like auto ducking and various other things, so I can do it all through that, which means that I can have my mic here, a mic in front of the guitar cabinet, and then like if I'm working on a synth or something like that, it can go in through the device, gets all fed through there. And if I'm talking and then I hit a guitar note, it automatically ducks the mic on here to stop it from clipping and doing all that kind of stuff. So, you know, all being set up, all doing all that stuff. Bought it for the looks, yeah. Isn't that like 90% of the reason to do what guitarists do as guitarists, buying things entirely for the looks? Personally, I don't quite understand it, but that's just me. I'm a bit of an odd one. An Alvarez Modulus neck. Nice. Yeah, Modulus made great stuff. It's too bad what happened to the company and what ended up happening to all of the molds and that for it, which just got sold off as like scrap almost. It's terrible. It's kind of like what happened to Parker guitars as well, which is, it sucks because Parkers were great. I loved them. They were unique. They were super lightweight. They sounded kind of cool. The fretboards with the material they were made from were like interesting. And then they got sold off, and you know, Washburn, US Music Corp, and that destroyed the company. And yeah, aluminum neck. 16 years with Les Paul. No thanks. I don't even like Les Pauls at the best of times. The thing that I have that's kind of close-ish to a Les Paul is a Caparison Angelus. Similar concept, 24.75-inch scale, but it's double cutaway, and yeah, made in Japan. Little small teeny tiny company. Works brilliant. Oh, excuse me, I have to sneeze. Come on, you bastard. Oh, no, it's not going to come. Oh, that's annoying. Oh, man. Yeah, Ken Parker's great. His arch tops are brilliant too, and his channel's good. Definitely worth checking out if you want to hear some real sort of like technical sides of guitar building and that. He covers some excellent, excellent points. Oh, man. Oh, dear. All right. So that's the bridge now converted over, ready to rock and or roll. So next thing is I now need to sort out this fret dressing and stuff. So pretty much all the frets are looking pretty solid. They've measured they're measured fine in terms of level, so they're level. Yeah, he does have a channel like Ken Parker, and he does like Ken Parker's like arch topology or something. So what Parker did was, Parker's fretboard was made out of like a composite material. I think it was like even a glass or something real wild. So the frets didn't have tangs, so they were epoxied in the glue. Sometimes it would come loose. It's real easy to fix up. Run a little bit of glue under there, clamp it, they stay in, swings and roundabouts. I like that. The best guitar I've ever played was an original Parker Fly. It was the Konami code of guitars. Hells yeah. I am going to steal that analogy. I like that. You'll be on to Danelectro soon. Nice. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a semi-hollow guitar. I love them. I've got two of them. I got two Vox Bobcats that I bought, new reissues. Really phenomenal, like well made. Made in Korea. Not cheap, but they were cool. Like 335-ish type thing. The only bad thing about them was the pickups. They sucked. They looked like P90s, but what they actually were was just single coils under a P90 cover. They were real shrill, real sibilant, real... Nah. Coffee down. Awesome. Alright, so I need to get these pickups down and out of the way so I don't scratch them. And that one there too. God. There we go. That goes there, thusly. Oh, itchy. So I've got 10 viewers and I've got 7 likes. If you haven't already, please do hit the like button. You know, I need to game the system. I need to do all that. I need to become big fancy streamer man. Oh, God. Maybe not PewDiePie, but, you know, something interesting. Because the more I do things like this and hopefully eventually start making some ad revenue out of it, the more time I can spend on doing the production videos and stuff like that. I actually just lined up some stuff for Japan coming in, coming in April. So I'll be visiting Yamaha's Innovation Road, which is their like museum type thing that they have, which is there in Hamamatsu in their head office, which will be super, super cool. So I get a chance to check that out. Also, a visit to the Tokai factory, which would be quite nice. Don't know if I'll get a chance to do Fujigen this time around, but, might do it next time. Oh, seriously. Oh, cut my nose off. It's terrible. All right. Now we remove a guitar neck. Now, notice how I'm removing the neck with a hand tool. I'm not going to use a drill on it, because that is a very quick and easy way to end up with a stripped screw and a big massive gouge in the body. Yeah, Tokai. It used to be Tokai dealers until they left the country because they sold to new ownership who proceeded to change how they were doing things. So they were basically focusing just on high end. They got rid of all the Chinese manufacturing, which was a shame because they were making the best like Les Paul and Strat style guitars under $1,500. Like their Chinese made copies were killer. It was so good. We used to sell so many of them. But yeah, then the new owners decided to shift just to Japanese manufacturing, and it's like, okay, cool. SJ503. Wait, which one's the SJ503? Because I can get parts for Japanese guitars easily, because I actually import pallet loads of them from Japan and deal with wholesalers over there, and I have people who can find me anything that's needed. What is it? Tokai SJ503. What is it? Oh, that thing. It's just a super strat type thing. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing specific about those that makes them kind of anything real special. Yeah, they just used a Fernandez style trem on there, which you could probably just drop a regular old Floyd Rose on there quite easily. Yeah. See, they don't have parts for that. I mean, well, I kind of lie. They did. They had a lot of really, really old parts because Tokai made guitars for companies including Charvel, Kramer, and various others as well. So they're like a third-party OEM too. They did actually have some old left-handed Kramers from the early 90s that they made that were never finished. They were neck body, all complete, ready to go, but no hardware or anything like that. And yeah, they had them still in their warehouse for years. They actually got shipped to Australia to another shop down here. Oh, God, that. That's terrible. Yeah, I mean, stuff like that, like an SJ503. Pull the bridge out, put a Goto GE 1996T on there. It's the best trim you can get. That'll drop right in pretty well. Oh, man. Alright, let's see how we're looking now. That's better. Yep. Cool. That'll do the jobby. Okay. Just need the short ones. That can go there, that can go there. Let's take the body and move it on out of the way. Got to do a partial refret on a Parker Fly. I've had ones where the glue had deteriorated. They all needed to be reset. I hope that's not the case this time. Yeah. I bought an SJ503 prototype body that was in storage, so I was trying to find a neck for it. I mean, you won't necessarily just find a neck for them. They're pretty hard to just come by like just a single neck or something. Usually for something like that, you'll just have to, like, yeah, find another neck to fit on there type thing. Okay. Oh, man, my sinuses. Why does my phone keep going off? Don't know who you are. Nope, 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 nope. Cool. Oh, man. Okay. Where is my blue thingy thing? Cool. Let's zoom this in a wee bit. Where's the thing? There it is. Remote. Whoop. Come on. That's right, there's a delay on that one. There we go, that's better. I need to find someone who's a leather worker, because I've got a neck rest bag that I have, which is this thing, weighs an absolute ton, because it's actually filled with bird shot, but it's starting to fall apart, so I need someone to make me something like that in leather, so it's a lot more tough. Okay, so I will give this a wee bit of fall off on the top end here. Nothing too kind of crazy or huge. Blue fret material. Oh yeah, there's a couple of fret divots there. Like while I'm running the marker actually over the fret top, I can feel like the roughness in those spots. So someone's tried to spot level them and has not done a good job. Sweet. Excellent. Yeah, as in pull the logo off, put something else on there, make it interesting. You know, as long as the guitar plays and does what it needs to, that's all that really matters. Anything else, who cares? Okay. A little bit there, and a wee bit there. Cool. Okay, so I got my little short bar there. And what I'm going to do is just take a little teeny tiny itty bitty wee bit off of the top of the frets there and put a little bit of a downwards angle on the end of the frets there. Just helps with where it kind of kicks up on the body and other things. So I swear one day I'm going to buy a Plek machine just for the hell of it. You know, anyone got to spare like $150,000? I swear I'm good for it. Alright. Sweet. Oh. I mean, Plek machines are great if you're doing a lot of instruments or such, or if you want like a premium service, or if you like building. But for the average setup and store and that, they don't really make a huge amount of sense. You know, they cost a lot of money, and the return on it is pretty minimal. All right, let's go. Oh yeah, wow, scusi. Cool. All right. Yeah, so we can kind of see where the inconsistency is on this fretboard. Ah, go away. Alrighty. 1 second, 'tis my brother. Yeah. What's up? Alright, and I'm back. Ugh. Not straight edge from AliExpress, was shipped in a plastic bag. Yeah. I mean, if I'm going to get tools like that, I'm basically going to, you know, get proper brand name ones. But we can see, like, where we've just done here on the first part, you can see there's, like, this section here, which we've still got blue, but then we've got, like, blue up on these edges, not so much there. So we've got a bit of a low spot here, which corresponds with where they were fret dressing that area, making that kind of a bit null and void, if you know what I mean. Alright, let's continue on with that. And just want to make sure that it's all nice and leveled. Come on, get away. Get out of there. Howdy. Anyone worked on a Fender Pro Sonic? Yes, unfortunately. Ugh. Not pleasant things to work on, that's for sure. If I remember correctly, those are the old Zinky design ones that are just not very well thought out. Not very well thought out indeed. Okay, another wee bit of a cut. Almost there. It's the most exciting thing in the world. Watching someone do fret dressing and that. That's why people like Ted Woods and similar. Yeah, they just edited it down because it's like, you know, as the old joke goes, polishing, polishing, polishing. Okay. Almost done though. Alright. Pull one of these bits of tape off. Do 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 do. There we go. Very, very tight radius on this. Oh man. Oh, itchy. One more should do it. Just that real pain in the butt section right there. It's very low comparative to everything else. It's annoying. Stay. Wee bit of a kick up there. There we go. Alright. There we go. Now we've finally got to the point where we're actually getting down to the last bits. Nice. Almost there. Last wee bit. Alright. Come on. Last wee bit. Alright. Oh, sinuses look crazy. Just put Brad on an audio call and you can interact without text. Well, I mean, part of that as well is it's kind of how you got to route it through that. Otherwise, it comes through this and it sounds like crap. And yeah, it's a nightmare. There is a way of doing it, but takes a bit of time to do it. Hopefully, you know, sometime next week I'll have at least the basics set up so I can do that if we wanted to sort of like catch up. So, oh man, oh. Yeah, exactly. See, the zinky bit. Zinky. Zinky, not ideal, you know. Cool. Alright, so now we can do the fun bit. Level and crown and polish. I'll polish up all the frets though, just to get rid of any excess on there. Thankfully with frets like these ones, they're so small and tiny and only took a little bit off the top that crowning them will only take a minute or two. It's not like, say for example, when I do like extra jumbos and you take a huge amount off of that. Yeah, StreamYard, all that kind of stuff's good. So currently setting up all that kind of stuff already, so that's why there's a chat down that side of the page. It's just about actually sitting down, having time to do it. So I've been doing a little bit of an evening, overnight, but I am not exactly known for having a huge amount of time, as I'm sure we've heard me say multiple times previous, you know. Time to change out that blade. Go into the bin. Oh. Industrial size packet of number 11 blades from China. There we go. Need to get a better container for them though. A friend back in the UK traded a 62 Jaguar. Are we talking like as in an actual 1962 Jaguar or like a 62 reissue Jaguar? For one when they first came out. Emailed me a few days back asking if I'd like to take a look at it when I'm next back. Take a look at it from a big distance. Those things are terrible. Yeah, terrible, Muriel. Yeah. Alright. So, I can go there. Now the most exciting part out of all of this. Cutting up excess bits of the, what's he? Good sharp blade will do the jobby. I mean, let's be honest here, right? I say this so often, and I'll say it again. You know, speculation is for losers. Nobody makes money through speculation on those kinds of things unless you have like some prior knowledge. Some people just happen to get lucky, right? Nobody knew that a Jaguar was going to be worth a huge amount of money. No one knew that old guitars were going to be picked up by collectors and investors to be made into like big, massive money spinners. You know, that was back then. It was just a guitar. That was it. You played it. You did your thing in that. You know, unless it was like something really special, like a high-end like Martin or something that still had some value. They were just instruments. That's it. It's like people who had cars. You know, my biological father, when I was a child, the thing I always tell people is, you know, he had a Holden Tirana SLR 5000 that he sold for like, in today's money, like $8 grand or something back in the 80s. You know, good luck getting one for under $100,000 that isn't a complete rusted out hunk of junk. Nearest tech didn't want to deal with it. Sounds like a smart tech. There are some amps that are just nightmares to deal with. Like, no matter what, you're going to be fighting up against bad design choices. Fender Bluesbreaker, prime example, right? Fender Bluesbreaker is a terribly laid out amp that makes doing repairs to them that should be simple way more complex than they need to be. So what you end up with is an absolute nightmare scenario that it takes forever to do a real simple job. You know, instead of it being, you know, say for example, like 10 minutes to disassemble and get into where it needs to, you got like sandwich boards that are all like U-shaped and hidden out of way. It was just, nightmare. Picking up first act guitar. Man, those first act guitars, right? This is a prime example of like some of the weird things that happens with like corporate greed and stuff. The company came out, they existed, they did some cool stuff, and they had the American custom shop that was brilliant. They made like such good guitars. Like I remember about 10 years ago, right? They were floating around. You could pick up a second-hand one for like $600 or $700. That's it. Nobody wanted them because everyone thought of the brand and they thought of the cheap ones they sold in like Target or some shit. They're like super cheap. But they actually made proper high-quality US-made custom models as well. And they also did weird things as well. Like they did a they did a promo with V-Dub, and they actually did. There was a Volkswagen model that came with an input for guitar. It was a Beetle, and it came with one of those first act guitars and had the V-Dub logo on it and stuff. It was real wild. They weren't one of the good ones, but some of the other ones they did were actually really quite cool. Prime example of knowing your branding. You know, if people think that your brand is all about the cheap stuff, you're going to lose that prestige and the higher end clientele. You're going to end up with people who think that the brand isn't worth much and the products aren't quality. That's why you've got Squier. That's why you've got Epiphone. That's why you've got Toyota versus Lexus. You're separating out those things. It's a bit more of a Western phenomenon than it is in other places. For example, in Japan, guitar's a guitar, company's a company. Toyota make the Toyota Crown. Crown is like a sub-brand of it, but it's still, Toyota. People know it's a Toyota. And, for example, it's the only division of Toyota that had a V12 in it. More cars should have quarter-inch input jacks. Yeah, Well, I remember there was a couple of years ago there was also Fender that made a I don't know what they had like a licensing deal with some company, and they actually had a Fender sound system in the guitar, and you could actually plug guitar into it, something like that. I'll have to find the info. It's out there somewhere. Bought a modular synth after seeing Radiohead use one. He's one of those guys, huh? Always chasing the newest thing. Nah, see, Tesla are basically the I mean, look, Tesla are Tesla. It's like people buy amps and they fall apart and they're crap. They're like the Strictly 7 guitars of amps of cars. You know, they had a brief moment where they designed some interesting stuff, but they are ultimately a Silicon Valley tech bro company headed by an absolute idiot. And who've completely lost their way and are having their breakfast eaten by all of their competitors, despite what their overinflated stock value would say. They're running on ancient platforms that are well and truly beyond everything. The truth is coming out about their less than honest claims about a number of things, and the overall build quality and how they've gone about things hasn't been ideal. So, you know, I still think personally that we should just move to a less car-centric way of doing things and more public transport, but that's me personally, you know. Randall Smith, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Reverend is still good. Reverend are great because, you know, they're Korean made, they're solid. Like, their early guitars that were made out of plastic, I really liked them. Their pickups are brilliant too. I made a song with my Arturia Micro Freak and the Hotone Ampro 1's looper last night. Sick. Nice. Synth stuff is fun. I love synth stuff. You know, I've got a bunch of synths here now. I get to play with them. And in my own collection, I've got Arturia. I got the Arturia V collection. I think I'm on like V collection 8. I don't update it that often, but works well for me for the occasional time that I play and that. And sometimes playing electronic music is fun because you don't have to find bandmates. You know, anyone who's ever been a musician, y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Okay, got ourselves our Z file, StuMac Z file. My personal tool of preference for most crowning and all the rest of that. Works quite well indeed. Okay, I actually need to do a bit of repair to this because I got a little bit of a burr on one side of it because I dropped it at one point, which is annoying. So I got to like get rid of that burr. Microfreak digital patch panel is really cool. Yeah, I got 2 micro brutes here in the store for sale. Yeah, Arturia do some good stuff. I'll tell you what, just before I came on stream, I was watching a reverb report they did from NAMM, and holy hell, if any of you guys are synth nerds as well, then you'll probably know what I'm talking about. Korg reissued the PS3300, which is absolutely wild. Those things were so far ahead of their time, were so expensive, and so few of them were made, and they're bringing them back. Apparently they're going to be like made to order, and there is no pricing information on them because they're going to probably be just that damn expensive. For those who don't know, the PS3300 was like the pinnacle of Korg's like wild design in the 70s, right? So it is a modular synthesizer with 3 panels on there. Those 3 panels control the 3 different sets of voices and ADSRs and envelopes, all that kind of good stuff. And it's polyphonic. Now you're probably thinking, okay, 70s, polyphonic. What, like 4 voice maybe? You know, 4 voices, 3 oscillators. This had a 48 note keybed. Every key has its own voice. It is fully 48 voice polyphonic. So it was like insane. Like you had the Jupiter 8 that came out, and that was 8 voices of polyphony. You had some like super high-end digital stuff that was like, you know, 16 voice maybe. This thing was all analog and had 48 voices in the late 70s. So yeah, I actually, in all honesty, I'd be lying if I didn't say I didn't want one. Yeah, no, 48 voice. So 48 note keybed. each one of those keys has its own voice attached to it, and it's modular. So you can actually like plug, patch, do all that kind of stuff, and it's absolutely wild. Yeah, like seriously, it is insane. Jump onto YouTube, and actually I'll put a link to it here because it is really, really cool. This one here, this here. There we go. So that's the synth that they're reissuing. It is literally one of those, if you have to ask, you can't afford it type synths. So probably realistically, I wouldn't expect a price below like 20 or 30,000 US dollars for something like that. You know, handmade, all that kind of good stuff. It'll sound absolutely mean, and then someone will probably just do like a super saw on it. Super saw and some pads. It still sounds the same. Yeah, it's like anything. The more complex and the more you get into it, the more you just come back to the simple things. Oh. Although on one of the Facebook groups, because I've made a post up about the Korg monopoly that I picked up for next to nothing because it needed some work and it hadn't worked in years. And there was a dude who was like, I love those things. I have 4 of them that I have wired up in a particular way to operate similar to a an Oberheim 4-voice. So in other words, 4 voice, each one of them has 4 independent oscillators. Just insanity. Microbrute is the one with the metallizer wave folder thing, right? Yeah. So the Microbrute is the one that has a digital wavetable waves on there, and then analog filter and stuff, monophonic, all that kind of jazz. Yeah, so they're kind of cool. They're like your intro hipster type synth. Although Korg have definitely been hitting it out of the park with some of their stuff lately. Finally doing a new micro Korg is a brilliant idea, bringing it up to the 21st century. The fact that the original one had 20 years of operation and it's just a 4-voice, brilliant. The new one has way more things on it that work a lot better. It'll be interesting to see. I kind of like as well how Korg do like some open source and access to SDKs for some of their things, so you can actually like program and do bits and pieces yourself. Which is kind of cool. Okay. It's so much nicer when it's just like just a little bit of material I need to take off. I had a Fujigen Strat in, the one I was working on the other day. I had to take off so much material to level it. It was basically like borderline whether it needed a refret. And it took forever to crown those tops because it was just so wide. It was insane. Absolutely bloody mental, man. Little teeny tiny fine lines. Yeah, Mini Brute and the Micro Freak. Yeah, the Micro Freak. Micro Freak's the one with the like the capacitive key bed, isn't it? Because the Micro Brute Micro Brute is the one that has the Mini Brute, that thing. Yeah, one of them has an actual key bed and patch bay and that, and the other one's like got the digital controls and stuff like that on there. Oh god, Nice. All right. I could actually use a little bit more. There we go. Excellent. Ah, it's all blurry. See the back of my head. Yeah, it's a capacitive keyboard type thing. The one that I've got 2 of here is, let me grab it from the floor. Oh man. Let's see how far the DJI can go. Micro Brute, that's it. Micro Brute. Going wide. There we go. Yeah. But yeah, so that's the Micro Brute. This one's a white one. And like all of them, it originally had the stupid soft touch plastic on the knobs, which went into a gummy mess. So I had to soak it in, soak them in isopropyl and then scrub it off to get rid of it. Because, yeah, that stuff is terrible. It's so bad. Like, just stop using it, people. It's awful, awful stuff. I hate it with a passion. It's so bad. All right, 600, 1200. I have to cut some more. My rolls are a bit short. That's it. 600 and 1200. There we go. Oh, that's where that got to. I wonder where that went. Oh, man. Itchy nose. Whew. Alright, get some gloves on. Try and minimise how much this goes bad. Ay, ay. Dr. Proctor. Okay. Oh, God, itchy. So, yeah, so I basically leveled those out. And now I'm going to go over with the, what's he going to go over with some 600 grit and then 1200 grit. And then I'm going to buff it up with a buffing wheel to get it all nice and clean. So yeah, I need to knock a little bit off. So I use a 320 grit on that and yeah, 320, 600, 1200, polish. Polishing, polishing. Come on, you. Need to take a wee bit off the top, not a huge amount. Do 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 do. A little bit more. I put walnut ends on my old Casio 380. Nice. I got the Korg monopoly here that because the case is made out of chipboard. It is starting to fall apart. It's too bad that nobody has like plans for sale, so I could like send them off to a CNC and get them to cut it for me. Yeah, so I'll probably just have to like sell it with the case as it is. I mean, it's still structurally sound, but it looks as ugly as hell. At least it's not a DX1, because the DX1 came with Brazilian rosewood end caps on there. Yeah, they used the nicest, fanciest wood they could on that. Especially considering how much those things cost back then. Absolutely insane. Thankfully, I was able to find some keys for the monopoly locally. Saves me having to get them from overseas. And yet I am still waiting to see if I can find me some G key for the MS-10. Because I'd really like to put that up for sale. I've got someone who wants to buy it, but if I don't have a key for it, it makes it hard, you know? The wind up here is messed up. Wanted to do a Tele Nitro respray video today. Oh yeah, good luck with that. I mean, it's nice day for it, dry and all that kind of stuff, but yeah, the wind. Maybe it's time to invest in like a little workshop type thing in there, like put up some walls and stuff for doing that kind of spraying. Like a little dedicated area. Oh. 20-second delay between chat and video. Yes, it's because with YouTube now you can set it up to have a shorter delay, but the quality is like less on the overall stream and stuff. So I have a bit of a thing there where there is a bit of a delay and then it comes through. So Fang comes out of the gun and does a U-turn. Yeah. maybe you should like knock up like a little booth type thing you can like unfold from the walls type thing, kind of like Americans with their public schools, how they have like those rooms they can pull out for school shooters. Have something like that for spraying. Oh. There we go. Come on. Polishing, polishing, polishing. Just need to take off just a bit off the top just to get rid of those scratch marks. Not a huge amount, thankfully. Yep. I'm going to do it like that as well, just to take off, just to put a little bit of rounding on the edge. Yeah. I'm actually waiting to hear back on a few quotes from people to do that Maton headstock overlay thing. So I had someone who said they could do it, and then I was like, oh yeah, cool, I'll book it in. Like, well, actually I can't. Ah, cool, thanks. And I've done a scan of the overlay as well, because in the worst case scenario, if anything goes wrong or gets damaged, then I can just have another one made. So that up there, huh? Down here it's not too bad, thankfully. But then again, I am in, like, you know, there's like roads and streets and that all around, so not a huge amount. Speaking of the road and the area and that, yeah, had that sort of classic thing of, because I have my shop right here near the Enmore Theatre, which is, yeah, for those of you who aren't in Australia, the Enmore Theatre is like a mid-sized venue, so you get acts playing here like Alice Cooper, Extreme have played there, Steve Vai played here, that kind of venue size, right? Last night, Anne Boleyn and Hawthorne Heights were playing over at the Enmore across the road, and yeah, the drummer came across and made him a custom cable for the gig to get it sorted, because they needed to hit the stage that night, because they used a really odd setup. It was an SP404. But they were using it with a wave file, hard left, hard right. Hard left was click track, hard right was some audio that went out with it as well. But it's RCA, and I don't know, they normally use the headphone output of it to feed one thing and do it that way. And so I basically knocked him up a custom 1 foot RCA to 1/4 inch that he could run into his little mixer that was beside there for his in-ears. So worked well, yeah, it was good. That's what I like about having the shop here, is I get to meet some interesting people and interesting road crews, and occasionally sell some stuff to the artists. So I had like dudes from the Coronas pick up some strings here. I had what is it? Yeah, a couple others as well that had come by. It was good fun. Oh yeah, of course I got to catch up with the Eagles of Death Metal. That was good, so I got to see them. Presidents of the United States of America in 1997 at the Enmore. Whoa. Meanwhile, my first gig in probably, yeah, would have been 1998 when I was a young little teenager, was seeing Aqua for free in Auckland. You know, music wasn't a thing for me until I was like, you know, 12 or so. So, yeah, would have been around then. Afterwards, I started kind of getting into it, after getting into rap and rock and metal. Then picked up the guitar randomly, and the rest of it, as they say, is history. Where's me bloody, what's he? My ruler. Where'd my ruler go? Aqua is sick. I like Europop. Europop's great. It's so happy. If I did drugs, I'm sure I'd enjoy it even more, because then I could turn around and I could be like that German man who goes to the club and listens to like the Europop and goes, yeah, this is very nice. I like that. Und fantastisch. Actually, I do want to check out Europe at some point in the near future, because I got to organise my Hungarian passport, which I can get courtesy of my grandparents. Thank you. Get me one of them and travel around and check out some stuff. Get me some sausages in Hungary. That's good shit. Okay. Oh, itchy. John Wilson. Lee Kernigan. God, that's a name I haven't heard in a while. Huh, nice. Yeah, musicians are good. Poor shit. Oh my god, I haven't seen Super Troopers in years. What have you got going on? Meow. Is there a problem, meow? Oh, now I gotta watch her. I gotta show the missus, actually, because I don't think she's ever seen it. I can't afford drugs. I have a guitar problem. I used to be like that as well, but then I owned everything, and I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna work with what I got. So I don't buy anything anymore. Least of all for myself. I haven't bought a new guitar for myself in years, because I've got the ones I need. There's nothing I really don't need. About the only thing is, next thing is I'm going to get a Helix. That's it. I've had my MIJ 300 for a number of years. It's worked great. But now I want a Helix just because I want to do a few other bits and pieces with it. So hopefully I can find one cheap that maybe someone has damaged, because I'm actually a Line 6 authorized service agent. The next person who says shenanigans is getting pistol whipped. Ah! Classic. Classic, classic. Oh, man. Going. Yeah, we're looking there. Cool. Oh, man. Because, yeah, they made a sequel to Super Troopers, didn't they? Pretty sure they did. Oh, man. Whew. I need to find a way that I can, like, make something that simulates my fingers to have to hold them like this so I don't get so sore and tired on them. Because it is exhausting having to do this. It's unpleasant too, uncomfortable. I have a Veta 2, old school. Man. See, this is what's kind of wild, right? You take some of those old Line 6 products or old digital things like the Johnson J Station and that, you run them, but you turn off cab sim, right? Turn off cab simulation and run them into a modern impulse response. And holy hell, like, they actually don't sound bad. Like digital, like, I've been digital for a while now. If I want the sound of an amp in a room, I turn my speaker simulation off on the unit, run it into a clean power amp and then into a cab. Sounds like the sounds like an amp in the room. It's brilliant. More and more musicians are moving digital because it's easier for transport, it's easier for use. Backline companies will usually have a couple of spare Helixes, Kempers, and Fractals in the backline ready to go. So you just rock up a USB stick and away you rock and roll. Big, massive musos are doing it too. So it's not just like the small guys. The Offspring have used them for years. Metallica, they've used Axifexes for years as well. This is a band that literally has, like, storage units on every continent for doing stuff. Because the people in the audience are still going to hear it, it's still going to sound good, It is what it is. It's not like I need that extra 1% better because, Johnny Dickhead in the audience is going to notice a difference. So, I like digital stuff. I think it's great. What I don't like is a lot of the modern digital stuff that comes out that on the budget side of things, that they bring out a new model so often, but they don't need to because they're, creating the planned obsolescence type thing, and then they stop supporting parts for them. It's kind of why I like Vox, because a lot of their models are old, but they keep going. They keep them plodding along, they just don't change them. So like the Vox Valvetronics Plus series, VT20, VT40, VT100X models, brilliant. Been in production for like 8 or 9 years. They still sound good, they're still reliable, they're still solid. The Vox Cambridge is basically the Vox VX50 in a different container, that's it. So they keep them going and working quite well. Companies like Fender, though, here's a new version, 12 months later. Here's another one, gotta buy this. Oh, no, sorry, 3 years later, we don't support it anymore. Discontinued. Bye now. I suppose it's part of, like, the capitalist system we live in. People always want to buy the new things. They want to go, you need the new version because it's like 0.2% better. Literally, that whole thing. Simpsons did it, She's got a new hat. It's that. Yeah. That's why I don't care about the new products anymore, and I've gone over to used for a while until towards the end of the year or early next year I move out to boutique. I don't care about model churn. I'll keep pumping things along. Companies that just make good stuff, and I don't want to constantly have to go, oh, I've got this old thing, I've got this new thing, oh, there's a change here. It's okay if they're like updating things because there have been some kind of like positive changes or things that were necessary, but that's seldom ever the case. It's usually, how can we do this to make it appear to the consumer that they need a new unit and we'll spend money on it. That's it. It's not good for anyone. Not good for the environment, not good for us, not good for the customer. So we don't want to do that. Oh, man. Oh, man. That's what I like about... The good thing, like, for everything you say about, like, Yamaha and various other things is, like, for example, the Line 6 Helix, Yamaha company, they're still pumping out updates constantly that bring in so many new things. There's no new Helix. It's just, here's the Helix still being made, still plodding along. It's been going for years now, but it still works. It's well designed to keep updating it. The Kemper, same deal. I think the Kemper is very long in the tooth, though, because it kind of came at that cusp of things. So it is very old school. It is kind of limited in what it does. Meanwhile, Fractal, here's the Axifex, here's the Axifex Ultra, here's the Axifex 2, here's the Axifex 2 XL, here's the Axifex 2 XL Plus, here's the Mark III, here's the Mark III 2, the new version constantly. They could just keep them going for kind of longer, rather than having to churn through them and bring in new ones all the time. You know, if somebody asks me my opinion on which one to go for, I generally say to them, go for a Helix, because they're serviceable, they keep supporting them, parts are available, and they're nothing like crazy. You know, it's not like Fractal, the only place you can get them repaired in Australia is sending them up to Totally Technical in Queensland. They do not allow anyone else to repair them. You know, Kempers are cool, but they are kind of limited. And for example, the Quad Cortex, I don't like them because the Quad Cortexes, they're like tech broifying of this stuff. Oh, it'll do this and this and this and this and this. No, it doesn't. It doesn't do the things they said they did. And then they had issues with them, reliability, and now they're flooding the used market. They're certainly not ideal. When you have all an AD and a DA and a user interface, it should just be firmware updates. Yeah. You know, the DSP in them, it's long cycle. It still keeps plodding along. I mean, most of them are running on similar DSP chips, so God only knows why they need all these new things. I mean, oh, the Axifex, you know, the Axifex XL, or the Axifex 3, oh, it's got this many more cores and can do this many more things. It's like, okay, cool. Does it just, like, sound good? Is it easy to use? Is it reliable? That's all. So, yeah, certainly not my personal preference. I was left with a bit of a bitter taste in my mouth when I actually bought the last one of the displays for the Axifex Ultra a couple of years back. Customer bought one, he had it, and the display went funky. It's a known problem with them. And yeah, the company just go, nope, we don't do them anymore, that's it. And so I got the last of the displays that were available for them. And now you've got to try and cludge in a third-party one because they don't sell the screen for them anymore because they want you to buy a new version. It's just a simple LCD display. That's nothing. It's not like it's anything spectacular or crazy, you know. Even if they said, here's the part number, this is the one that you can get from anywhere, buy it. Yeah, it's like I had a Nord Electro 5, and it had a busted OLED on there. It's a generic part. I can get one. The only thing is the Nord one specifically is on a kind of standoff. You can recycle it, but it doesn't. It's designed to be heat stuck on there. Yeah, so that was kind of annoying. But for example, Korg, in their service documentation for the Minilog and similar, they have no OLED in there, and they've got the part number in there. You can actually get the generic one. Easy. They're common. If Korg doesn't have them, or the distributor, you can buy that part because it's just an off-shelf 128 by 64 OLED. Simple. Remember those Digitech stock boxes that were all identical with different firmware and cosmetics for each unit? Yeah. X-Series pedals. Brilliant. Smart idea. It's the same as the TC Electronic tone print pedals. Identical internally. Different firmware on them. Bam, done. You can update them and all that kind of stuff. You know, all that kind of stuff is brilliant. You know, keep them going. That's what makes the head rushers screens go on them. Well, you're kind of out of luck there. So you got to just hope they have them, and then you got to install them, and it's a nightmare. You know, meanwhile, something like a Helix screen goes on it. Just get another one, put in a new one in there. Bam, done. Simple. How are we looking? Not bad. Almost done. Oh. Alright. Got one more piece. Do a bit of a pass backwards and forwards, and then we're good. Then we can polish it up, start putting this mofo back together. Oh, man. Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. Yeah, Digitech are one of those companies that kind of always interesting. I know on the forums, and especially a lot of metal players love the like the GSP 1104, or I don't know, one of those ones. They used them for years. It had a tube in it that, you know, it sounded quite good apparently. I didn't think they were anything special, but these guys love them. But hey, you know, keep going on them. Why not? So in other words, I look like that scene from Chopper where they filmed the whole thing in they did something wild. They basically filmed it at one speed whilst doing the audio, and then played it back so that the audio was playing at normal speed, but the film played back at twice the speed. All right. Almost done. Oh. All right. Oh man. Shoop. Itchy, 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 itchy. Yeah, that's it. They filmed it at half speed, but they recorded the audio at normal speed. So when they were playing it back, it's synced up in some kind of way, because they like removed every second frame or something. I don't know. There was a way that they did it. It was wild. Shipping costs there in Australia. Here can be onerous if you cross the middle of the country, but from outside the country, cheap. So in Australia, shipping costs are a nightmare. For example, because, you know, I do a lot of online sales and shipping and that kind of stuff. For me to send a guitar from here to, say, from here to Queensland, it is, for a standard guitar, about 40 bucks, you know, with my shipping rates. Big guys will get it for like half the price of that, right? That's still a fair bit. From here to Perth, even more. If it's here to an area that's like dubbed as a regional area, which there are a lot of them, through the roof, it's insane. For me to send a guitar from here to the US, for example, is about $350 to $400. Here to Britain, similar kind of deal, but it gets there quicker. It's kind of funny. I can ship something from here to Perth and something from here to the US, and it'll arrive in the US before it does in Perth. Go fig. Bought a time domain reflectometer from Korea, next day air for 30 bucks. Damn. That is insane. Nah. Yeah, it's kind of wild how some of that stuff happens. Some of it takes like absolutely no time, and then other stuff is there. Speaking of Korea, apparently they started making tubes. Go fig. Obviously it's like, you know, audiophile type tubes, so big massive like triodes and, you know, direct heated things that are like, you know, $500 US per tube. Can't imagine them being all too great, but I'm sure some of the audiophiles will love it because they like anything that they're told to like. Ooh, it's got a big price on it. Must be good. Okay, so I need my Dremel. I'm going to make some awful noise now. Can't see, I don't like terrible stuff. Here we go. Okay. That goes there. That goes there. Okay. What else do I turn on? It's going to be loud. All right, warmed up. There we go. That's better. That's better. Don't like that dust. Come here. Come on. Where are you? Here you are. Huzzah. Okay. Ugh, that sounded awful. Never a pleasant thing. How are we looking? Like a charm. Nice. I'll zoom in now. Yep. Yeah. All shiny, all that kind of good stuff. Rock and roll. Oh, itchy, itchy, itchy. Let's kill that. Get that out of the way. Yeah, they did overdub it, didn't they? I don't know. It was something interesting. It worked well, regardless. Okay. And go back over there. Shiny frets. Yep. With shiny little Freddy frets as bright can be. Yeah. For the Aussie audience on that one. Y'all know what it's about. Now, just realised I forgot something. I need to polish up the rest of the frets with the Dremel. No point just having a half a neck of, nicely polished and good-looking stuff. I want them all looking good. There we go. Cool. Okay, there. Let's just quickly bonk that back where it came from. Shipping out from Australia is okay. Shipping into Australia is just shit. Nope. Opposite way around. Well, it kind of depends, right? I've got corporate accounts, well, not corporate accounts, like business accounts with DHL, FedEx, and a couple of other companies, right? I can get stuff from the US to Australia or from Japan to Australia for 3/5 of FA, you know. It's not too bad. For example, I can get, from Japan to here, I can get about 45 kilos in a big, massive box, which is basically about a half a dozen guitars plus a bunch of pedals and some other bits and pieces. Cost me about $500. That's it. If I ship stuff from WD or CE or something and use my own shipping providers, they'll try and charge me like $380. I'll get it for like $180. You know, it's just gotta you just gotta have the right setup, as it were. You know. Not that one. Not the other one. I seem to be missing fret guard. Oh. See, that'll do all the way down there. No, just one. Use this one then. That'll do. Should I get a corporate account then? Yes, you should. Contact DHL. Contact FedEx. Doesn't cost you anything to get an account with them. Let them know you're importing stuff as well as exporting. Also, get an account with Interparcel and get an account with SmartSend. They're the main companies I deal with that. I've also got one for Sendle, just for small parcels. But if I'm ordering stuff from overseas, I'll provide them either my own account details for big guys, depending, or I'll basically get them to give me the shipping dimensions, and I'll book it in from this end through Interparcel. Works out quite well for that. Yeah. Saves a bunch of money. And the good thing as well with if you've got an account with like DHL or something like that, you can get free packing materials. That's what I kind of have them for. I jump onto the website, I order a bunch of boxes and tape and stuff like that. Cost me nothing. They ship it to my door, and I use it for things. Hacking the system. Excellent. That's better. PCBs might be way cheaper too. Do you mean as in like getting them in from somewhere else or shipping them out? Because like shipping something like PCBs or similar in like small boxes, kind of like that size there, that'll do like a standard like JCM or JMP type preamp in a box. Preamp type PCB, I mean something like that, you can ship them from here to the US for like $40 with those kinds of things. Getting them from there to here though can be a similar kind of deal, depends. Expensive, I mean, shipping from overseas to here for small items can sometimes be a headache. Big items can be a little bit less, so. From your fab house. Yeah, I mean, stuff like that, you give them your account and then you can, like, you know, get them to book it in that way. Because if you ship enough stuff as well, then you end up with more discounts. The more you ship, the bigger your discounts. That's why the big guys can slaughter us on price for those things. Where's my big old thing? There we go. Ugh. Big old bottle of naphtha. Clean up the fretboard. There we go. Nice. So yeah, someone's worked on this board previously and put like, like gouges and stuff on the surface so you can kind of see little lines. But it's okay, it's not damaging anything. It's still playable. It's not like some of the others out there that are absolutely horrendous. No, not that one. Okay, let's put a bit of oil on that board. Now, interesting thing about like lemon oil and oiling up fretboards and all the rest of that. If you bring up the MSDSs, you know, safety sheets for anything like brain work, lemon oil and similar type things, then what you find is that 99.9% of the ingredient is made up of mineral oil. That's all it is. It's just mineral oil. It's a non-penetrating, non-catalyzing oil that doesn't turn into like a hardened surface or something on wood, like say for example a tung oil or a Swedish oil or a Danish oil will. However, you know, they charge a lot for it because it's got a little bit of lemon scent in it. You can actually get around that by using something like what I use. This. There you go. This is chopping board oil from IKEA. It's just 100% mineral oil. That's it. This one's actually good because it's thick and viscous, so it doesn't like spill everywhere. And that's all you need to do a fretboard. Just a little bit of that on a cloth or paper towel or something along those lines, just to bring up that little bit of a sheen on the board, make it look a bit prettier, get rid of any sort of dry streaks and similar type stuff. You know, don't use any like organic oils, olive oil or butter or anything like that. I saw someone making a post in one of the groups recently about using olive oil in their fretboard, and it's like, man, if that goes rancid, that is not going anywhere. That is permanently there. That is awful idea. Mineral oil is non-organic, so it's not going to go rancid, not going to go bad, and it just sits on the surface, adds a little bit of a protective film there, so you get less kind of build-up, and it makes it look nice. Wood is hygrophilic, it's not oleophilic, so it's not going to try and pull oil into it and like make itself phenomenal again. It's not going to like stop it from drying out or doing anything like that. It's just going to make it look like this, nice and pretty. Just a nice pretty little slab of rosewood here. That's all. There. That's all I use. Just chopping board oil. You can get it from IKEA or anywhere that sells like kitchen related stuff. That bottle I've been using now for 5.5 years. 5.5 years I've gone through that much of it. That's it. All the instruments that I do. Just need the littlest, tiniest bit, and that's it. Makes it look like a charm. Oh yeah. Okay. Let's put it back together. That can go there. That can go out of the way over thusly. Oh man, itchy. How are we looking? Nice. Alright. Screwdriver. Screwdriver. Check. Alright. Fine. I can go that way. So this one looks like it's been an overspray at some point. Yeah, it looks like it was probably a sunburst or similar, and someone's had it oversprayed with like a shell pink. It's not bad. I like it. Nice colour. Not huge on relic guitars. I like guitars that actually have been played. Yeah, ones that have been naturally beaten up, not ones that are kind of like, you know, looking the part. Give me an instrument that's got a story. Give me one that's being played. One that is so good that the people who own it want to play it. They want to take it on tour. They want to use it as a tool. They don't want to baby it. That's how you know a good guitar's a good guitar. You know, the ones that are case queens, the ones that have nary a mark on them, there's a reason why they don't get played. And it's not going to be because they wanted to protect them. That's because, you know, either they weren't very good or the player wasn't very good. Sometimes a combination of both. All right. Okay. In we go, thusly. Bring up my big massive baggy bag, like so. Let's zoom out a bit. Huh? That's me. So wait, which one's you? What are you, Mr. Spurgeon? All right. Rock and roll. What strings did this gentleman haunt? It was elixirs, but which gauge? Bring up my CRM. What we got? Jaguar. Nope, closed today. 11 gauge in standard E. Cool. That's easy enough. Ah. I see. Alright, let us grab some strings. Nope, sorry dude. It's a public holiday. I don't answer the phones. No, I don't. Okay. Speaking of rotor sounds, Roto Reds, 11 gauge. Good choice. Good choice indeed. Where's that bridge I made? There we go. Bridgey bridge. Cool. Ready to rock and roll. Alright. Now comes the fun part. Alright. Shoop. There, see? Got a stack of strings there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you got an extra spare string just in case. Alright. That goes there. Now let's get this thing started. This is one of those. This is one of the really, really basic versions of the trem, so it doesn't actually have the slide lock. That's annoying. What's special about the vintage sets of strings? I have no idea what you're talking about. Alright. Just a wee bit there, like so. Alright, there, wrap around, like so. There we go. My favourite string winder. Get on there. There we go. Stretchy, stretchy, stretch. Stay in place, you. Cool. Okay, I need that 1.5 mil. There you are. Itchy. Okay, let's drop that down. Yeah, one of the fundamental flaws about these bridges as well is with the saddles, if you pull them back too far, then the screw that holds the saddle in place goes up on too much of an angle and can actually make contact with the string. It's bloody annoying, I'll tell you what. I think that's a bit low. Let's raise it up a wee bit, and by a wee bit I mean a lot. What sets of strings are these? These are the Rotor Sound Roto Reds 11 gauge. So 11 to 48, the Rotor Sounds. Just a good old set of strings. Alright. Stay. Gotta go, dog. One's walking. Nice. Tell your dog I said hi. Because dogs are great. I love them. Animals are brilliant. My old girl's getting very old. Anyone who used to come to the shop years ago would remember Ava, little shop dog. Miniature pincher. She now got one eye and missing a bunch of teeth. Still cute though. Yeah, we're looking there. Let's see. Rough some ballpark on that. So, yeah, it's about right. Cool. Now let's keep going with these. Ow. How sharp. Next one is the white one. Just that one there. Into there, into there. Around like so. Give it a wee clippy clip. What's the difference between the classic rock and roll Ernie Ball set and the modern sets? The rock and roll sets by Ernie Ball are a pure nickel wound string, so the winding around the steel core is made out of pure nickel. Modern strings like Slinkies and these rotor sounds are a nickel-plated steel. So it's mild steel wrapped around a steel core with nickel plating on there. The nickel plating is on there because it provides some corrosion resistance, but it also offers a lower coefficient of friction versus straight steel. That's why stainless steel strings sound great and bright, but they also feel kind of sticky. Because, yeah, they've got a higher coefficient of friction. You have to. That's why with stainless steel frets, you have to really polish them up. If you don't polish them up right, you're going to end up with a terrible playing experience. And then, of course, a lot of flat wound strings were flat wound with either stainless steel or often Monel. Monel is a type of alloy that work hardens. It's a nightmare to work with, but is tarnish resistant and works really, really quite well. That goes there, up to there, like so. Okay. Probably a bit too much on that. There we go. Yeah, making videos is a whole different discipline. You know, for me, I'm just doing the live streaming thing just because I'm going to be here anyway, and none of the stuff that I'm doing right now would make, like, good sort of video type content. You know, people don't want to see this kind of thing for that unless you're like Ted Woodford, and then it's got to be like interesting instruments. This is just a, here I am chatting, stream of thought type stuff. You know, the more interesting things that work well for videos, like some of the synth type stuff, some of the amp type things, some of the more kind of like historical, interesting stuff. So, strings are strings. Just get a set of strings and use them. The main thing is, especially with you, is that you don't change your strings often enough. Just get elixirs, because then they're not going to rust. Get elixirs, put them on there, because unless you're changing your strings every couple of weeks, you're just going to be fighting it, you know. The players that know, use the elixirs, because they work brilliantly. Both Brad and I use them. I use them pretty well exclusively, because they make them in all the sets, all the gauges that I use, and if they don't make a gauge that I use, well, I'll just use whatever closest gauge that they have. Cobalts and similar, it's all a bunch of marketing bullshit. Ernie Ball are especially bad or good at that, depending on what your perspective on the matter is. There you go, elixir. See, elixirs be good. Elixirs are the shiznit. Yeah, let's see, what, get into that. Let's see, what can I do? Can I, no, I want to go to, there we go, that. There we go. There we go. There's a poll. How many people here use elixirs? Check them out. There we go. Because I do. They're brilliant. Exactly. So if your strings are already working and they do fine, why change them? Don't succumb to marketing. Use what works, and unless there's a problem, or unless there's some like life-changing revelation in a product or what it's doing, sometimes it is okay to be, and I hate using this word, but conservative, and just keeping things as they are. Some people don't like the feel of elixir, that's fine. Me personally, I don't like the feel of old strings. I don't like sticky. I don't like that. Just give me new ones, man. 75%, there we go. 4 votes. Sweet. And then, of course, for doing tuning and all that kind of stuff, strobe tuner. Not going to mess around with doing, whatsy, you know, needle type tuners or similar type things. I can read a strobe tuner and have it more accurate and know it does what I need it to do with like how the envelope plays. So it kind of works better. Going to that and going to that. There we go. Silky smooth. Yes. Very, very smooth. Sweet. E standard we're going for. I mean, the elixirs do sound good, but eventually they will still lose their high-end component. My guitars, if I don't play them that often, I change strings once a year. But what I do is over every couple of weeks or so, I'll go through and I'll actually wipe down the strings with naphtha, lighter fluid, because that'll help keep them clean and keep them sorted. So that way, at least I know they're going to maintain that kind of brightness. All right, bridge is good. Oh, that sounds awful. So the interesting thing about Elixir, right, and a lot of people don't realize this, is Elixir aren't actually a musical instrument company. Elixir are a company that just happens to not manufacture strings, but provide strings on there. So the company that makes Elixir is a company called Gore, known mainly for making Gore-Tex, the stuff that like jackets and like stuff is made. What happens is they've got people in the company that are like, oh, how can we figure out ways to apply products in different ways and do different stuff? So the employees can go up and go, can we try this, see how it goes? So what they did was a guy went up and said, I'm a guitar player. What if we try applying PTFE to these strings? Because they're a petrochemical company, so they've got like advanced techniques. And they said, okay, let's try that. So they got a bunch of strings, they tried it, and they created it. And the first strings came out, which were the NanoWeb ones. The the Polyweb. The Polyweb ones had a really, really thick coating on them, and that's where a lot of people got the vibe that they sound dead, because the coating was heavy. It did mute a lot of the high frequencies. They went along, they redid it, and then they figured out NanoWeb, another way of coating the string to make it thinner. And then OptiWeb, which are thinner yet again. So the OptiWebs are really thin, they don't quite last as long. But, they're cool. I just like the NanoWebs for my kind of stuff. But the strings are actually made by GHS. So the US-made string, GHS, they're solid. They work quite well, So I've got a lot of relief in that neck. Oh, thanks Fender, with your ever insistence on using end of heel adjustment you can't just like access. Ugh, how annoying. Bloody hell. At least on these ones I use the top mount tuners, so I can just like pull the strings off instead of having to worry so much about the entire thing going crazy. Ugh. All right. Oop, slips right off. There we go. Bad. Yeah, paradigms are junk. They suck. They corrode just like any other ones. They break just like any other ones. I mean, they're chemically treated. Okay, cool. They still sound dead after like, 4 to 6 weeks. They feel rusty. They feel terrible. If I want a long-lasting string, I'll get an Elixir. I'll get a coated string. I'm not going to go with like, something that just doesn't work. All right. Let's get those out of the way there. Plonk that bridge out so it doesn't fall off. Take the neck off and play the backwards and forwards game. That's one good thing about the Telecaster. They got it right in the Telecaster. You take the pick guard off, and you got access to the truss rod adjuster through a hole in the end of the body. Put a little tool in there. Can't do it in a Stratocaster. Can't do it in a Jaguar. Can't do it in a Jazzmaster. You do it in a Telecaster. That's why a Telecaster is a superior guitar. I own 2 of them myself. I own a Do I have 2 of them? Yeah, I do. So I got the workshop one here, and I've got a an 85 Japanese Telecaster as well that has a burnt wood finish body. And like all of my Telecasters, it has a modified neck pickup. Specifically, that one has a P90 in the neck. I don't like Telecaster neck pickups. Certainly not my jam. I need something a bit wider. Come on. There we go. There we go. Okay. Where's my big mamma jammer? There it is. There we go. Someone's already gone into this and used the wrong size tool previously, obviously. They've chewed up the thread on there, so I've got to make sure that I don't damage it, because if I do, then I have to put another truss or another bolt on there, nut on there, that thing. The thing that you turn to do the stuff. Telecasters are just good guitars. Doesn't matter whether it's for beginners or not. A good guitar is a good guitar. The Telecaster is a good design. The only thing that I dislike about them is I don't like the ashtray bridges. I don't like 3 saddle bridges. Give me a 6 saddle and I'm a lot happier. Fight me. Yeah, I like a 6 saddle bridge. That's what I convert all of my Telecasters to. Yeah. I would prefer if they had a 4-arm contour on them, but I can survive without them. Alright, let's see if this now does the jobby. Oh, itchy, itchy, itchy. Okay. Back in place there. All right. All right. Well, not all the Squires do. Some of them have 3 saddle bridges, like the Classic Vibe series and similar. Squire guitars just these days, unfortunately, do not represent the value that they used to 10 years ago. All I could tell you, with an ashtray and unpotted bridge pickup, nah, no thanks. I like, if I'm going to have an ashtray bridge, I'll have a 60s style one with the 6 individual saddles. I mean, they do, but then again, I can also just as easily get microphonics out of, like, plucking the strings at the top of the headstock. It's one of those things where it is such a tiny amount of everything that it's like bay leaf. Do you really notice it? Is it actually there? When you put it into the context of a mix, when you hear everything else to it, is it really going to be heard? I like a potted bridge pickup. It's my personal preference. Oh, alternative tuning. Ooh, sounds like one of them's you know, Midwestern emo bands with the clean clean tapping stuff. I actually had a student that I had to teach some of that stuff to, so I had to learn how to do all that. See, I got to a point where it's like, with my own gear and all my other bits and pieces, like, I'm not going to chase the 2%. I don't care about that. You know, I don't care about, you know, a Telecaster that's got microphonics in the bridge that just rings out this particular amount. Nah. I suppose it's because, you know, doing the engineering stuff and that, you know, it's like, it's one of those things where there's so many little bits to the soup, and it just, yeah. Unless I can hear, like, a massive difference in that immediate part, you know, there's other bits and pieces that'll kind of, like, add to it or detract to it from it or whatever. Okay. Oh, man. Yeah. But the problem is, some of these kids are, like, absolutely crazy. One lesson, and then they're, like, doing stuff that's like, how? How? You are just, oh my God. Some of them are absolutely crazy. And then there's others that it's like, just please stop. I know you're interested in stuff, but it's like, just, you're not practicing, you're not doing the stuff. You know, and then there's like some students out there as well. It's like, okay, cool. Like, you can like shred and all the rest of that, and you can do 1,000,001 things, but you can't play in time. You can't play with others. You don't have any concept of rhythm. You could run before you could walk, which doesn't work well unless you're just sitting there playing for yourself and like listening to yourself play. You know, playing music is kind of like a team sport, really. There we go. Damn thing. Kids these days, yeah, they've got access to such a plethora and a world of information and, you know, democratization of music. They can go out there and create music and share it with others and make so many more things than I could have 20 years ago. 20 years ago, to make a demo, you either had to have a really crappy like digital recorder or tape machine, or pay a bunch of money to go to some crappy studio run by some like bloke named Scott that's filled with smoke and like ancient equipment and like, you know, doesn't actually care about doing what's there. And, you know, then these days, like, you see kids and they can do some of this great stuff and they're creating music. Flip side of that as well is that oftentimes they're over-complexing things, and because they do a lot of stuff online or they do stuff within the box, they've lost that connection to other musicians. So they're creating music, but they're not playing in bands. They're not making music that's kind of like broadly digestible. It's very much a tight niche. Kids have the oblivious talent thing sometimes. They have no idea how quickly they pick things up. Yeah, it's the plasticity of the brain at that age. And then you get people like me who are just like kind of weird and still maintain that plasticity even throughout sort of like you know, later age and such. I still learn things with incredible speed when I put my mind to it. The problem is putting my mind to it's the hard part. Not staying, just got on here. It's alright, at least you pop by to say hi. Trying to be entertaining and all the rest of that as best as I can whilst playing a shell pink Jaguar. Alright, cool. So, that bridge is lopsided. Need to straighten it out a wee bit. Where's my, there it is. Put it back in its holder. Oh man. Also, if you have not, hit the like button. Come on guys, we've only got 9. Got to do the thing, got to play the algorithm, got to do the numbers, got to do all that junk. Yeah, with all these big YouTubers quitting, there's enough space there now for me to come along and get a couple of viewers. Actually, I watched the Adam Neely one this morning as well. He was talking about how you know, 1.8 million subs and nobody cares. It's like, yeah, if you're a musician and that's the kind of thing you're into, it doesn't kind of do all that. So. Ah, here we go. You are staying. Oh, okay, cool. Well, hang around. I'm still doing some stuff and whatnot, so... What time? 2:30. Man, I've been going for a while, haven't I? How long have I been going for? How long have I been going? Almost 3 hours. My word. That's certainly a thing. How did he want this set up? What was the action? Low action. Okay. I'll make it a low action. Lowish action, anyway. You can only get so low on a 7 1/4 inch radius unless you want to bend. If you don't want to bend, not a problem. Problem is, the lower you get, then you got like the cross-sectional issue that makes it harder to bend and get things kind of lower. So what was the guy whinging about? Nobody cares. Huh? Who's whinging? I have no idea. Am I whinging this time? I don't know. Maybe. Let's find out. Oh, that's way too high. Wow. Speaking of Jaguars, I got a Kurt Cobain road-worn Jaguar that was brought in for consignment that'll be going out for sale in 2 weeks. Those things are shot up in value so much in the last, like, 18 months or so. Like, a guy brought it in as a regular customer of mine. He told me how much he bought it for because he got it, like, not long after. They came out, he picked it up at Ishibashi, one of the Ishibashi stores in Japan. Yeah, he's making a bomb on it, which is good. Oh, yeah, no, Adam Neely. So Adam Neely on YouTube, right? Awesome dude. Like, he does a lot of, he does videos covering, like, things to do with, like, music history and music theory and that. Modern jazz musician, bass player, is brilliant. But there's been so many, like, people leaving YouTube, and he's been doing it for 16 years. He's got 1.8 million subs. And he did a video today that came out. It was called, 1.8 million subscribers and nobody cares. And it's about how if you're a musician and you're into that kind of stuff, you know, nobody cares. You're not getting into the industry through that. You're not doing all that. In fact, kind of people look down on it. And he's talking about how, like, a drummer who's been around for many years and played with some of the great jazz greats out there is 98, and he's still kicking on. He's still playing. He's like, I want to be the guy who's still 98 and still jamming out and playing. Am I going to be 98 still making YouTube videos? Nah. It makes sense, you know? I like YouTube, I like creating, but also part of it is because I like attention and I like money. So if I can get both of those things out of this, brilliant. I like talking. Hence the reason why I can do this for 3 hours and just keep going on and on and on and on and on without any of it sort of, you know, wearing me down. Not everyone can kind of do that, and to some people it isn't that kind of thing. I mean, part of the thing with me as well is hopefully I can, you know, use this to get some more music happening and find some people to play with and get some more recording stuff done too. You know, I want to get back into the swing of that, maybe do another tour. Yeah, it's just one of those things where it comes down very much to your personality and your life and various things, and some of these guys who've been doing it for a decade, they've done their thing, they've made their money. Some of them have made a lot of money. Others are more like of the weird sort of type that don't like making money, or they're not really of that kind of thing. So like they don't take like sponsorships or anything, or if they did, they were very limited and very recent. Yeah, so they're like more content with like a real basic sort of thing, which is, you know, I'm all for it. You know, I grew up in abject poverty though, so for me it's always I want to make enough money so that I don't have to worry about things going bad, as things have often happened throughout my life. I know it doesn't take much to, you know, knock someone down to ground level. Yeah. I like making people laugh mainly. I like making people laugh too. I wanted to be a stand-up comedian. I wanted to do voice acting, but, you know, it never eventuated that way. And I don't have enough time to go try those things now. I'd like to, but effort, time, all those kinds of things. Kevin! For those who are British who are watching, you know, when I hear Kevin, all I can think of is, you are my fellow DJ. If ever you've seen Kevin and Perry, the TV series, or Kevin and Perry Go Large, you know what I'm talking about. Classic. Yes. Brad is a funny legend. I actually got to catch up with him at some point, because there are a couple of things I want to do videos with him as well, to bring a bit more of his personality out. Just because it is kind of, you know, one of those classic things. Alright, let's see how we're looking with nut height. Very high. Now, so I've got to cut some of those slots down. All right, let's get my nut files out and cut. Oh, down I go. Where are we? There we go. That one, that one. That one, and that one. And there. And that one too. Okay. That should do the jobby. Oh, up I get. Happy Stray Day, Aussies. I mean, it's just another day to me. I'm not really about sort of celebrating it and all that kind of jazz. Where I'm located is a couple of minutes down the road from the Yabun Festival, which is a Indigenous festival they're doing on Australia Day, because obviously they've got some very real reasons to feel what they do about this particular day. And I kind of agree with their stance on things and what they're doing. As far as I'm concerned, we should make it May the 8th because the weather's better. It's damn hot out today, man. Seriously. January 26th is always just, it's melting. Put it in May. It's nice weather, nice and cool. You can have like an outdoor thing and actually chill out and have some good times. What's a good distortion pedal in the market? Whatever you like the sound of. That's it, Everyone has their own personal tastes and preferences. Some people like the DS1, some people don't. Some people like all sorts of things. It all depends, Okay, I need that one, that one, that one, that one. I think the time has come for me to finally put my, yeah. It wasn't even, it wasn't even a public holiday up until, a certain number of years ago. It's just easy enough to change it. That's it. It's going to happen at some point. One day, a government will come along and it will change. Popular opinion will go along with it. That's it. But until then, people keep doing what they're going to do. That's it. Those who, refuse to follow along with the way the world changes are the ones who will be left behind. That's it. Things change. That's it. The BEOD is cool. They're a neat kind of pedal. Did the red Japanese Jackson Solus get sold? No, it's still for sale. I dropped the price on it recently because I need to clear it out to make some space for some other things. Alright. Rock and roll. Let's get some of that stuff happening. Alright. I need that one there. Out of the way. Again with the sinuses. Annoying me. Seriously. Where's my little protection duva? Where'd I put it? Damn it. Too much stuff everywhere. Not that one. Not that one. No. Seriously, where'd it go? One moment. Not there, not that one, not that one. Oh, that one. No. Seriously, where's... Why do I not have any? That's annoying. Trying to find some moderately stiff cardboard so I can use to protect the headstock. A tumnus and a snouse black box. Black box is more adjustable, but the tumnus sounds nice. Yeah, Wampler does great stuff. Brian's like a really switched on dude. Good channel too. The tumnus is cool. I personally don't have much use for a clon style overdrive. I don't like the sound of them. There are other pedals I much prefer that work more for most of the things that I've done previously, but yeah. Here's one for single coils and one for humbuckers, the way I have them set up. Nice. That's one of the things I like about the whole digital thing as well, is I can chuck all that in there. But if I want to use like an analog pedal, then I can as well, because I can incorporate that into the whole jobby. Aha! There we go, use that one. Oh, can't get that off. Sweet. Found me some cardboard. There we go. Awesome. There we go. Just to provide a bit of protection. Where's my pencil? There we go. Make sure that I'm not knocking anything out, and make sure there's enough behind how the slot goes. Want to put a little bit of a back angle on it. Bit more. Now we get to play the back and forth game. Just tap it in. Just tap it in. Tappity tap. Yep. Sweet. Next one. That's a fair bit. That needs a wee bit of a dropping. You best believe that's paddling. There we go. So, has anyone seen anything interesting at the NAMM show that they go, you know what, that's kind of cool, I don't mind that. I was talking before, for those who weren't here, about the Korg. Korg have reissued the PS3300, which was their monster synth from the 70s that had full polyphony. Like, I mean, it has 48 keys on the keyboard, and it has 48 notes of polyphony. It's absolutely wild. So reissuing those and then making them to order. Germanium Tumnus Deluxe soon. Yeah, sounds all right. A photo of the new SP77 with impulse response. God, I wonder how much they're going to be charging for that. Like, the SP77 was great. I owned one. I've owned most of the Soldano amps over the years. The only one I haven't owned, I think, is the X99. God, I wouldn't want one of those, because trying to keep them running is a nightmare. That and the Hot Rod 60, I think it was. But most all the other ones I've owned at some point. You know, I pick them up, buy them, play them, and got rid of them. You know, it was that kind of thing. But yeah, the SP77 was always one of my favorites. I love them. That's why I love the sound of the SLO and those circuits, because of one main reason, and that's Killswitch Engage's second self-titled album, which was the sound of an SLO 100 with a Haynes mod. With a Maxon OD808 hitting the front end of it, and that was just, whoa, that sound, super saturated and beautiful. You know, the only other tone I like better than that is the End of Heartache album, where they use the Framus Dragon, which is brilliant. I haven't watched any NAMM videos yet. Yeah, I don't watch a huge number of them, but there's just like some that popped up in my feed. I'm like, oh, that looks interesting. Oh, that's kind of cool. But yeah, hopefully, come later this year, early next year, we'll have some dealerships with boutique amps, so we can get like some of the Soldano and Fredman stuff here in store. Because there's nobody in Sydney really, like in this kind of core part of Sydney, who does that kind of stuff. You know, with Jackson's Rare Guitars running off of everyone's money and a various other bunch of things happening, there's not like that, you know, interesting premier kind of guitar shop, unless you go out to Guitar Factory Gladesville. But they're very much like, you know, like they've got their particular niche. They've been doing things for as many years as they have. You a Soldano fanboy, you don't say. Cooking a BLT wrap. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna have for lunch, actually. Because I'm here in Enmore and everything's still open, so. God only knows what I'll do. Might have something. A little bit more. Yeah, see, I mean, the Slipknot guitars don't really interest me. I didn't mind his, like, you know, there's Ibanez ones, because they were just a good quality RG that had a good bridge on them, but, you know, I like Slipknot and all, but not to the point where I'd want to own any of his guitars. Is it even a stray day if you don't snap a selfie with your tongue poking out? I don't even snap selfies of myself at the best of times. Doesn't everyone eat fairy bread on a stray day? Yeah. Yeah, fairy bread's pretty damn good, actually. Oh, you gonna get... Oi! Jaden! Braden! Hayden! Aiden! Zayden! Raiden! Get here! Get some fairy bread up your say! Oh, thanks, Dad! Yeah! Now go grab me a VV from the fridge in the garage, you know? The one next to the Prado. Can't get any more Aussie than that. Type 1 diabetic. Ah, bummer. Well, I suppose you can have the fairy bread that has the no sugar type of ones there. I got a couple of friends who are type 1 diabetic, and my grandmother was a type 2 diabetic. So I grew up with her around that and helping her with the eating and the food and all that kind of stuff, so... Yeah, I mean, it's probably just going to be like one of their regular type models. He'll probably have like an Arrow, and he'll probably have like an M series type model. That's it. Yeah, Aussie rum is pretty bad. Seriously, it's... Bundaberg is scum rum. Cannot stand it. Then again, I'm not also a big whiskey guy either. Can't stand the stuff. Further down. Yeah, I just don't bother doing the whole, like, you know, holiday thing. Mrs. Works. I come to work. I go to the Brew Mountain, say good day to Craig. Classy bogans go. Well, you're going to have to keep going and supporting your local, because all of those craft breweries, man, they're going out of business left, right and centre. Between the excise and the big guys, like, just hammering all the venues and that. Yeah. I just got on to JD with Coke Zero. Don't tell me there's sugar-free fairy bread. Yes, there is. There is indeed. Because there's a version of, like the sprinkles that they do that uses a, one of the a sweetener and like a sugar alcohol type thing, so the ones that don't spike the blood sugar. I like Appleton Estate. Good value and a good drop. I have no idea what that is. So, I wonder if he owns the rights to that bridge and can use it any company he goes to. Nah. So the bridge that he had, right? So originally on his his VC Rich guitars, it was two pneumatics and stuff like that. When he went over to Ibanez already had their Zero FX bridge, right? Which was basically the parts and components of the Edge Zero, but with a new base plate that connected via two studs, like a two pneumatic, right? When he went over to Jackson, all Jackson did was got Floyd Rose to make them a Floyd Rose bridge, but with a custom base plate on there that would just basically sit fixed with 3 points. So you had the two at the front, and then you had the one at the back, which allowed you to sort of balance it out there. It's not a design that he owns or anything else like that. It's literally just, here's a Floyd Rose bolted to a surface. That's it. You know, it's not a bad way of doing it. See, I got a younger sister who can outburp anyone. When she was like 13, 14, she would belch like a drunken Russian. It was insane. Alrighty. That one's a bit on the high sides as well. Yeah, I really need to replace these fret files. They have done well, but they are screaming for the void. Honestly, if I had the money, I would invest in some of the Stumac diamond ones, just because they're really nice. Hand tug, never heard of them. There's a lot of random weird bridge companies out there that do a lot of stuff that's like over-engineered or weird. Like, I don't like Evertunes. I think they're pointless. You know, they're just, yeah, they're a pain in the ass, nightmare to install, and they're just 6 Floyd Roses that aren't even connected to the body. They float inside of it, you know. So it just saps so much of the, like, you know, transference to the instrument. And a little bit more on that one too. Almost done. More. Just finalising some champ cab drawings. Got one with an 8-inch and one with a 10-inch driver. Nice. Grab one with an 8-inch and a 10-inch. Need to pop down to the shop and grab some speakers and the chassis to make sure nothing clashes. Yeah, sounds like an idea. I like 10-inch speakers. They sometimes get a lot of shit. I actually really like a 2x10 combo. A 2x10 is small, it's lightweight. You get enough volume that you can push stuff hard. How are we going on action-wise? So 1.5 there down to quite low there. Right. Alright, so a little bit of buzz down at the first section, which would indicate to me that we have a little bit too much relief, not enough, a little bit too much back bow in the neck. Yeah, it's about right. So you shouldn't be getting anything. I have to do some spot leveling. What we got? That's a very high boy. Yeah. I'm gonna spot dress a couple. Check to put Floyd Rose specials on the guitars, which are worth $1,500 plus, so they're hot rodded with stainless steel screws. Cool. Let's put a really, really hard screw into a really, really soft die-cast metal. Stupid. Seriously. If they're going to do anything, they should put a Goto GE 1996T on there, because Floyd Rose specials are a terrible bridge. They're awful. They're horrible. They're not worth it. They cost so much for what they are, but the saddles will strip out and they need to just go in the bin. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, I might. I mean, I've already done the upper fret, so that's the problem. I don't want to have to redo it all. Yeah, I mean, Goto, you know, if someone like John Suhr is going to use them on his guitars, this is everything you need to know about them. They're not like, they're not an inferior product. They're half the price of a Floyd Rose, but made brilliant. Schaller are Floyd Rose. That's it, like literally. They make the guitars for Floyd Rose. The tremolos for Floyd Rose. The Lockmeister is literally a one-to-one of the Floyd Rose, just with a Schaller name on them. That's it. They're also incredibly expensive. No. Schaller have made all the Floyd Rose stuff since the 80s. Funnily enough, the very first ones that weren't handmade by Floyd Rose himself were made by Fernandez, the Japanese company. They're actually Japanese made. So the first ones were made in Japan, which is why after he moved production to Schaller for them to do it, Fernandez kept making their version of the Floyd Rose there, because they had all the plans and that. So if you get like a Fernandez guitar that has like a head crasher trem on there, it's the same footprint and the same parts as a Floyd Rose. But yeah, Goto are brilliant. They are phenomenal. They have the best trem arm mechanism. They are made incredibly well. Everything about them is phenomenal. They are killer. The Schaller ones and the Floyd Rose ones are brilliant, but they're twice the damn price. Why? They just, no. Especially because, like, I can get them at wholesale, and wholesale is like half of retail. Easily. They're making a lot of money on them. You know, if you buy them in bulk for manufacturing, you get them even cheaper, obviously. But yeah, the Goto ones are by far and away the best. Easily. Yeah. Alright, so how many have I got that are knocked out? So that one's very high. Yeah. How annoying. Okay, so I've only got those high ends on those two frets. So I've got... this one. That one there. That's way... Why is that one so high? Okay, I think I might have a raised fret on that one. Yeah. I'm gonna glue and clamp that one. Alright, let's Ah, crap, I'm out of super glue, aren't I? Damn it. Knocked a bottle of super glue over the other day and it sealed itself shut. How annoying. Right, alright. Well, this one can just briefly go back together and I'll have to deal with that one once I get to the hobby store and get some more glue tomorrow. Something. Oh, man. Come hither. Come on. Cool. I can just go there. Come on. I said come on. Damn thing. Get out of there. Wrong way. Is it the right way? No, wrong way. There we go. There we go. No. Ah! Damn it. Come on then, stupid thing. There we go. Like one of those annoying puzzles. Come away. Get out of here. There we go. Sweet. Oh, man. That was awful. Okay. Alright. Get in there. Go. Yeah, I was thinking the Ibanez trims, even their cheap ones, are better than the Floyd Rose Specials. Easily. They are some of the best made trims at that price point. Even the sort of Chinese ones that they do. It's like the Edge Zero and similar. Even the licensed style one that they do is way more reliable than the Floyd Rose Special. Floyd Rose Special is junk. Okay. Come on. Stay. Alright, well, I am going to pack this instrument up. And I'm going to go grab me some lunch and do some admin stuff afterwards. I might do some, like, you know, work-related things that aren't specifically work, because, you know, even I deserve a couple of minutes down. I get nowhere near enough downtime, unfortunately. I work way, way, way too much. Okay. Might do some rearranging of things. I need to sort things out because my workbench is a mess. I don't have a fancy one, unfortunately. It wobbles, it jiggles, it does all sorts of crap stuff. And I gotta try and figure out space for everything, so, you know. That can go onto its shelf like so. Lastly, oh man. Let me just switch over the camera. Boop. There we go. You can see me in all my red-nosed glory. I look terrible. I look absolutely horrible. But hey, you know, no one comes here looking for my pretty face. Except I really got to change that side there. Doesn't need to be quite so large. There we go. Actually, if I just go to that there, Command C, go there, Command V, there we go. I can delete that one. Remove. Yes. Cool. Ah, just keeps it in the same spot, easily enough. Yeah, so hopefully that was as enjoyable for you as it was for me, as yeah, we always say. Yeah, I'll be back on Monday and Tuesday as I do. I think that's just going to be my regular day for streaming, for doing stuff. And I'll get a couple more videos shot and pumped out and put out into the world, check out. Yeah, I'm going to see what I can do to find some interesting stuff to tear apart and look in there and do some history-related stuff. Yeah, you know, if you haven't already, hit the like button, do all that kind of stuff, subscribe, share it around, do all that kind of stuff because, you know, I'm never above asking for it. give me all your attention. Spread it around, let everyone know what I'm doing. Yeah. Also going to probably schedule up some time for some streaming whilst overseas as well, so I'll tee up those days so I can do it. So people can see what it's like over in Japan. Let's see if I can find a music shop in Taiwan as well. That'd be interesting. Because there'll probably be, like, some interesting stuff there. It would have been cool if I could have gotten, like, a chance to check out some, some, like, Taiwanese guitar factories, because they are some of the best out there. Yamaha's Taiwanese guitars, brilliant. Not enough being made these days. Any Mesas to work on? No. It's actually pretty quiet for the amp side of things at the moment. The only Mesa that I currently have is one that I've finished repairing, which was that Express 525. Low voltage supply diodes went bad, caps went bad, pulled them out, put some new ones in, sorted. Simple in concept, but man, the actual amount of work required to get that sorted was a nightmare. So of course, big repair bill. Even being the most gingerly I could with the PCB and the pads, it still ended up pulling one of the pads off of the one of the caps. I had to run jumper wire and stuff. Absolute nightmare. Because it'd be nice if Mesa actually like designed a good product. They haven't. But what do I have in the queue that'll be kind of interesting? So I've got interesting old Korg pedal, which is this thing here. So this is the Korg Mr. Multi. What's kind of neat about it is that it is a multi pedal, so you can select between different things. You've got phase, wah, and double wah, which is kind of cool. You've also got LFO or pedal. So auto is like LFO based, or you can switch it to pedal. So you can turn this into a phaser and select where the phase is along those points there, which is kind of cool. Like absolutely brilliant. And then of course double wah, which is two peaks in there, which is cool. This one has customers tried repairing it because the rack and pinion broke on there. Put the wrong size components on there, which resulted in the shaft being bent. Never a pleasant thing, some of us gentlemen will know. And now it doesn't turn smoothly. So without it turning smoothly, it's a nightmare to use. So it's an ancient pot, not a common one. I've got to try see what I can do to find it, because it's actually 1 meg. I think it's 1 meg audio too, which is weird. So I've got to fix that up and try and find a rack and pinion that'll work on it. What else do I have that's currently interesting in the queue? I'm waiting on a lot of parts, so that's a nightmare. I do have, actually, I've got that, I've got the Gibson for the refret. I've got to finish clearing up that Korg Monopoly, so I've got to work on that some more and do the calibration and stuff. Found some keys locally, so hopefully they'll arrive sometime this week. And then I get that prepped and put it up for sale, because it's a nice little unit. Absolute monster of a thing. Yeah, that's really kind of about it on the interesting side. I got to finish sorting out this Korg Lambda that we've had for sale, because one of the octaves, one of the outputs stopped working, which is, it looks like it's got a bunch of bad caps in it, so I'll have to replace like 150 caps in the damn thing. But, you know, such is the life of being a repairer. That's why people pay me the big money. Yeah, so that's going to be it from me. Do the things. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. And I'll catch you guys on the moon day. Bye now.